Welcome to the Real Room, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, John Hinton, and you are in a real place for real people to have real conversation where we are always relational, educational, authentic, and loving. Yo, what is up, everybody? We are in the Real Room today. Well, first off, before we get started, because I'll just be off to the races, shout out to everybody on YouTube. Shout out to everybody on Spotify. Shout out to everybody on Apple Podcast. However you are consuming your content, thank you for stepping in the Real Room with us today. Yeah, bro, today I am super excited. First off, wasn't last week awesome? I mean, dude, like I enjoyed spending time with my brother, Pastor Oyama Bishop, here in the Real Room, and we didn't want to stop. We enjoyed spending time with you guys, and by the time we were done, we were kind of forced to stop due to our SD cards and our cameras kind of taking a crap on us, and they're like, "Hey, we're giving up. You guys have been doing this too long." But we were talking afterwards off camera about how we can't wait to step in the Real Room again and really take more time to talk about God and the way that he's moved in his life. So yeah, that was awesome. Last week was so awesome. But today has been a dream. It's been a dream of mine. It's been a huge dream of mine. It's been what I would say a long time coming, desired. I've just been waiting for this day, and I'm super excited. So without further ado, I'm not waiting any longer. I want to introduce to some and present to everyone else the love of my life.
Jesus.
The most beautiful woman I know. Okay, all right, I hear you. So the second love of my life.
Yes, I can take that spot.
The second love of my life. The most beautiful woman on this earth. And someone who I consider to be my very, very best friend, a blessing. And I know without a shadow of a doubt that God placed this woman in my life for a specific reason. One, because I think that she's the only one that can put up with me. But I would like to introduce and present to everyone my wife, Pauline Hinton. Do you know how many people have been waiting for this moment, Pauline?
No, I don't.
I feel like all I got to do is put a picture of you on the thumbnail, and everybody in our church is going to be clicking on that just to hear you talk.
Yeah, this is probably the most they've ever heard me talk. So.
Oh, I'm sure. You're a beautiful face and a gorgeous smile and a silent but strong-spirited woman. So I'm sure they're going to be clicking on this video just to listen to you speak. But welcome.
Thanks for having me.
I am so happy to have you here in the Real Room today. Are you excited to be here?
Yeah.
Yeah, a little shy.
A little nervous.
A little nervous. Okay. Don't be nervous.
I know.
We've been kind of planning this for a minute, honestly. Like throughout I'll give some context. So throughout like the development of this podcast, it's gone through different stages. Like I had to flesh it out. Like I'll be honest, like anything given to us from God. I mean, all right. So before I go 0 to 100, some of you guys might be able to relate to this. When God speaks to me, sometimes I really struggle with hearing him. And I want to be right. Like it's not a prideful thing, but it's like if God's speaking to me, I want to be right. I want to know that it's him, and I want to know that I'm doing the right thing that he wants me to do. So when I believe he told me to start this podcast, I was one, insecure, right? I was one. I mean, you know me, Pauline, I'm an aggressor. Like I
You just want to get it done.
Yeah,
just
I'm like,
go at
now. Like, let's do it now.
No planning, nothing. Just head on.
I think that's why he gave me you. And I wanted to just do it, and I wanted to do it right. but at the same time, I didn't know what it needed to be. Like, he just said, start it. Like, he just told me to start it, and I started collecting the gear and started building the room. And throughout that process, like, it's something that I wanted to share with my wife and share with everyone else, because and when I say share with my wife, it's just like, I've come to the realization in my life that I can't do anything alone. And if you're not there, I'm praying for you, because it's much better to go through life with other people. Would you agree?
Mm-hmm.
And if it wasn't for you, I really couldn't do anything. And anything that I do, I mean, it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. Like, I imagine you're probably in the background, like, watching me do things sometimes. Like, yeah, look at him go. But I can fully admit that this was one of those things that I couldn't do alone. And I knew I couldn't do it alone because I believe God was telling me that it wasn't just for me. It wasn't just for me. It wasn't one of those personal things within my life that I could do with God and experience God specifically for me, but it was something that he was going to use as a vessel for other people. Oh yeah, by all means, get comfy, babe. Yeah. But throughout the process of building the Real Room, this is something I wanted to share with Pauline, and it took some time because we wanted to make it a place and a space where we could just share what God is sharing with us throughout our walk with God, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we went into youth ministry. I mean, we're gonna go all into detail. Like, this might be a 3-hour pod. Who knows?
That's okay.
But then we got into youth ministry, and then we realized that we didn't have enough time with our teens. Like, we only got to spend time, like an hour or two with them a week. And we're like, we need more time to disciple them and pour into them. So we were going to use all this equipment that we had to start a podcast specifically for them, because I didn't feel like God gave me the green light for the actual Real Room. Mm-hmm. And then when that didn't happen, God started working on my heart. Because I went from like 0 to 100, like, I got to do it now. I want to do it. And you're kind of back there like, John, realistically, you're praying. Like, you're praying, right? Like, God, get a hold of this man.
Yeah, like, Lord, speak to him. I want to hear you. Just make sure. Help him seek your will.
Well, all while you're being supportive in the way that you know how to be supportive, mm-hmm. right? And so when God got a hold of me and he like slowed me down, he started developing in me this vision and started really giving me this vision of the Real Room and what the Real Room was. And now we're here. I mean, you've been helping me out in the background, behind the scenes, with developing this whole thing. And it's been a struggle. Listen, no matter what you're doing, whether you are just living life or you're in ministry, if you're married or even just in a relationship, nothing's easy. Nothing, right? Like, nothing's easy. Yeah. So you've been supporting me and helping me, and first off, just thank you. I'm a publicly say it. Thank you. But yeah, now I'm super excited to have you on the Real Room today, and yeah. So we're just gonna jump right into it. Here comes the. No, you're not going to be nervous. I'm not going to say you're going to be nervous. You're not going to be nervous.
In Jesus' name.
In Jesus' name. She's going to pray through this whole podcast. So yeah, Pauline, yeah, give us context to you. Cause I know 100%, I know you, mm-hmm. and you will go 0 to 100, fire the Holy Spirit, start prophesying, telling people what God says about them and what the Bible says. And I believe you have a teaching spirit about you, and you want the whole world to know who Jesus is because of what he's done in your life, right? So I know that we could do all those things, and we're going to have more than enough time, and we're going to have multiple episodes to do those things. But I really just want you to just take this time, and I want you to just peel back those layers, okay? You got tissues right there. You're
I'm
ready.
already crying.
I know. See, this is what I want. Okay, this is what I want. I want you to give people context to you. Okay, and you can be as descriptive as you want. You can talk about your childhood as much as you want. You can just let the Holy Spirit lead us through this conversation. And yeah, so tell us all about you.
Okay. I guess I'll start with my origin story.
Origin story.
All right. So,
Start with where you were born.
okay. Oh, yeah. So I was born in San Bernardino. San Bernardino.
San Bernardino?
Yes.
We'll go with that.
California. Sorry.
No, you're fine. Listen, we're here. We're here. Again, we're not perfect.
Mhm.
You know the vision of the
Yes.
real room. We are not perfect. We are progressing.
Yes. So my parents, they're both Vietnamese. I think they weren't born in the U.S. So I think my dad came to California around like his teens, like maybe like 15 or something. I can't remember, 17 possibly. My
Okay.
mom came into California, I think around like 9 or 10 or something. So they were young. So
Oh, wow.
yeah. So technically, I think I'd be like a first generation Asian or Vietnamese American, stuff like that. Yeah.
Dope.
Yeah.
First gen, bro. First gen in the USA. All right. So how did they meet?
Oh, I'm trying to remember. I think they officially met in a furniture store. I don't remember their whole story.
furniture
Yeah,
store?
my dad was working there, and I think my mom was trying to find something. And yeah, after that, they just started going out.
It's like, hey, ma'am, can I help you find something? Oh my gosh. And then I can imagine K-drama style, just like looking at each
The
other's eyes.
music.
Yes.
Then a Subway ad at the end.
Oh my God. All right. I love you. All right. So your parents came to the USA pretty young,
Mhm.
and
Yes.
then they grew up, and then they met in a furniture store. Now, were they like big family? Big family?
Oh yeah. Oh, sorry, I don't remember how many.
Oh, no,
how
you're
many
fine.
like siblings they actually had. So, but I think let's see. My mom, she has. I don't want to forget anyone else.
If you're watching this, she loves you.
Yes.
Just don't name them by name. Just like try to take a good guess.
I think maybe like 7 siblings total, or their family is a total of 7. Yeah.
I got you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so somewhat of a big family.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 7. Yeah, so they had a big family growing up, and yeah.
Yeah. And did they all grow up in California or?
Yeah, they grew up in California. Yeah.
Okay. And then you were born in California.
Yes.
All right. And then you got any siblings?
Yes, I have one brother.
Yeah,
So I
one
grew with
brother.
one brother, yeah.
What's his name?
His name is Johnny.
His name is Johnny. Yeah, there's 2 Johns in this
Yes.
family. Okay, so tell us about your childhood.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know I don't know everything.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
This is see, listen, this is a date right now. I get to learn. We're having a date in the real room because I get to learn more about you. So go for it. Tell me about your childhood.
My childhood. Okay. Where to start? So I pretty much grew up. So my parents moved around a lot just because they were just jumping from nail salon to nail salon just to find like the best place to work at and stuff like that.
So they do nails.
And they moved around a lot, I think. Yeah. Sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Yeah, they moved around a lot, and I think we came to in Ohio. Sorry, my brain is just phasing out.
Oh no, you're fine. Hey, listen. Be comfortable with the pause.
Okay.
Be comfortable with the
Yes.
pause. Like we're here to just hang out. We're not rushing,
Mm-hmm.
and we're just talking. Do me a huge favor though. Grab your mic and lower it a little bit.
Lower it.
Yeah, I want to be able to see your face.
Like here.
Yeah, and then turn it that way. There you go.
Okay.
There we go. I want to be able to see my wife. All right. So you're born California.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Tell us about your childhood.
We moved to Findlay when I was like in kindergarten and stuff
Okay.
like that. And I think they were willing to move around again, but they saw like how I was struggling because I went into kindergarten and I stopped talking completely.
For real?
Yeah. Because at night, it was kind of weird, but I used to be somewhat of an outgoing kid before then, but
I could imagine.
yeah, but then like after I moved, I'm like, oh, who are these people? I just shut down in a way, and then I actually ended up getting bullied. Like I didn't realize it when I was little. But yeah, like
What?
yeah, these boys, I don't know if it's because I'm Asian and they're like, oh, she's different. Like
You were a cute kid. Why would they bully you?
I don't know. I actually would probably look sad as a kid. Now thinking about it, like if you look at my school pictures, I was like,
Well, you're probably scared. You don't know what to do. You just moved to a place, and now these boys are. Do you remember their names?
I think so. Yes, one of them at least. But
All right, don't say it.
I
but
won't.
I want to know who this person is. I might have to find them.
No,
I'm just playing. I'm just
and pray
playing.
for them.
I'm gonna pray for
Lay
them.
hands.
I'm gonna lay hands in a biblical way.
Like I would like be sitting on the floor with my hand on the ground, and one of them would purposely step on my hand.
For real?
And then whisper like mean things. Like I don't remember it, but just negative things.
Man, okay.
That was really the only time I was bullied, though, just in kindergarten.
Okay.
And oh yeah, I remember this one time where like there's a new girl that came to our class, another new girl, and I became friends with her right away. And yeah, even though I was quiet and stuff like that, and there was a time one day like she's like, "Where's my pencil? It's missing." Yeah. So then, like, I'm like, I don't know. Like, I was just a quiet kid, just minding my own business, not really paying attention. Just like, mind's all blanked in a way. And then my teacher found it in my cubby, in my cup.
It was probably those
I know,
boys,
so I was
bro.
screaming. She got mad at me, and I didn't talk back then. So I didn't even know how to say, like.
Yeah, you don't even know how to defend yourself. Like, you're innocent.
So, yeah. She stopped becoming my friend, of course, but that's the only real time I've been bullied, though, in kindergarten. Like, other times than that, not really.
Kids can be so cruel.
I know.
I'm telling you, bro. Kids can be so cruel. They don't even know about life. They're just, like, looking at each other. I'm like, man, I'm mad for you right now. I'm not even playing. Okay, so you grew up. Or at least like you were in kindergarten, you were a quiet kid because you guys just moved, and you're really just trying to figure out your surroundings, and it's just like, so you kind of just like shut down in a way. And then tell me a little bit about like how you were raised, that type of thing. Like, what's the home life like? And you don't have to be super detailed.
Oh, yeah,
because
I know.
I know that you've told me some things, and we're going to withhold information for a specific reason. Yeah, we're not gonna do all that.
So my home life wasn't terrible, but my parents were just very busy. They worked all the time. Like when we were living in Findlay, they had their own nail salon. So after we moved to Findlay, they worked with another couple for a while, and then they left. So they kind of like handed it over to my parents, like sold it to the business to my parents and stuff like that. And yeah, so they were working probably from like, I want to say like 9 to like 7 p.m. every single day.
Oh, geez.
Except like, what was it? Like Sundays that were their only day off and stuff like that. So yeah.
Wow. Well, yeah, but they're like let's be clear though. Like they're first gen, like, or your first gen, but they're the people who came over here.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, there's just like one thing I've noticed is like there's a certain type of work ethic when it comes to like immigrants coming to the USA. Like
for sure.
they grind.
Oh yeah.
And like they're setting up a legacy for their family. And yeah, and when I met you, I mean, I know you guys seem pretty well off. I mean, I was a broke white kid. So when I got to meet you, I'm like, oh my gosh, who is this rich Vietnamese queen? Jeez. All right, so yeah, back on topic. Yeah, go for it.
Oh yeah, so I was just a quiet kid. I was a homebody, so I just mind my business. Just like pretty much just go on my computer a lot, and then just did homework, stuff like that. Just homebody, and then just go to school,
Okay. And then like growing up in school, tell me a little bit about that. Because that was the only time you were bullied, so I mean, it can't get bad.
Oh no,
so let's hear it.
Yeah. So I grew up in school. I was just a quiet kid. I was trying to be like the best kid ever. In a way. Like I was well behaved. I did my homework, and like it would wreck me if I messed up or forget to do my homework. I was just a good kid, you know, like try to be, um, try my best to be a good person. Like I'll listen to the teacher, stuff like that. I would listen to my parents, listen to rules. That's the type of person that I was, you know, try to get A's and B's.
She was a good girl.
Yeah,
You were definitely a good girl.
at least I
And
try to be, you know.
I got you. Do you think like so you just naturally like that's just what came natural? Did you
Oh
like
yeah, for
was there
sure.
anything that happened that like you learned like yeah, no, I'm not going to be bad. I don't like being bad. Cuz you know, I mean, like me growing up, like I was a bad kid. I was a bad kid.
Rebellious.
Bro, listen, I was rebellious. I never learned a lesson, but like usually sometimes like a kid gets whooped and they're like, "Ah, I don't like that. I'm not doing that
Mhm.
again." It's kind of like the whole like burning yourself on the stovetop, you learn not to do bad things.
Mhm.
So was it kind of like that, like where you went through something, or like, yeah, no, I'm not going to be bad, or like were you just like seeking, uh, I'm not going to say to be perfect, but
Mhm.
like I know you've dealt with perfectionism before, and you're even currently overcoming that right now. So would you say you had that at a young age,
I think so. Not
not
like
knowing?
yes. Because I just hated being in trouble. Like it would just it was my worst thing. Like like even with at home with my parents and stuff, like I hated being in trouble. I tried my best to listen to them and stuff like that. And like I was the kid that didn't get in trouble really. My brother was the one that did.
The boys are the bad ones.
Yes. Like I love my brother. Like we're like us growing up, they're like he was the only one that, you know, we just hung at home together and then just like separate in our separate rooms and stuff like that. And sorry, I'm just kind of going
Do you
on that.
hey, listen? We're here.
But yeah, so yeah, me and my brother, like, he's like a year and a half older than me.
Okay.
So he's my older brother. He is my older brother. And we're kind of opposite. He was the loud, outgoing.
You were the quiet, just like
Yeah.
weird one in the background.
And yeah, and when we were like really little before we went to school, I think like it's funny because we're like pretty much opposites. Like he's the one that likes to eat meat. I'm the vegetables one. Like yeah.
Okay.
And when he was chubby, I was skinny. When I was chubby, he was skinny for some reason. It was just funny. But then after like we went to school, like we kind of regulated our weight, and then
Finally got the same at the same time.
yeah.
We finally aligned when we
Mhm.
probably puberty. It was probably puberty.
Maybe yeah.
All right. So covered at home life, covered school life. Now, when you were going to school, did you you were trying to do the right thing? Did you ever like have any like hobbies or desires? Like did you ever seek to like cuz I know some people are into sports, some
Mhm.
people are like they're just like super smart and they try to be like on honor roll and stuff like that. Like were you just trying to be good, or like were you seeking any type of like goal?
Uh, Not technically a goal. Like my mom would be the one that encourages me a lot. Like work hard now, and then you don't have to work hard later. You know, like you
Right.
get rewarded after like studying really hard. And she's like, she want me to be a doctor and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah. So and it like studying comes naturally to me. Like I can like without studying sometimes like I can get like a B sometimes. Yeah, you be just not having to study all that much. Just comes naturally, I guess. So it wasn't that I strive to get, you know, I don't know.
No, I hear you. You didn't really have like a goal. You're just
Mm-mm.
kind of just. So your mom wanted you to be a doctor, so
Yeah.
you're kind of like trying to live up to that.
Mm-hmm.
Did
In
you
a
want?
sense.
Did you want to be a doctor?
I didn't know what I wanted, so I was like, sure.
Yeah. No, I mean, what kid knows what they want to do? They
Mhm.
kind of just try to follow their parents. Which isn't a bad thing. I don't see that as a
Oh,
bad
no.
thing. I mean,
Mhm.
even if you became a doctor, I don't think we would have met unless like we would have had a K-drama moment in the ER or something.
He's lost his hand. I'm just kidding.
My hand.
I'm just
I
kidding.
want to lose my hand. I lost my hand, but I gained a wife. Worth it. Worth it. Okay, so now coming out of like high school and stuff like that. I know we're kind of breezing over like your past and stuff like that, which is super cool. where would you like to go next? Like, I know we met. Do you want to? Because like you're coming out of high school.
I'm just trying to, but
No, you're fine.
so I kind of want to go back to like when I was a little kid, growing up and stuff like that. Like, so I was trying to, like I was saying earlier, I was like a pretty quiet kid. I try to be a good kid, stuff like that. Just do my best to follow the rules, like obey my parents, obey the teachers, stuff like that. And in school, like, there's moments like I usually have like a couple friends at a time, like, because with me, I just being quiet, and it's not it's not natural for me to open up. Like I didn't even realize it, but people like would look at me and think like I was reserved. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like I feel like I was just being me, you know. Like in third grade, like I met these two other girls, and we're kind of known as like the Three Musketeers, since we're always with each other.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think around seventh grade, like we're still like kind of close friends, still like the. Was it seventh grade? Oh, maybe not seventh grade. Anyways, I think like fifth grade. I guess it doesn't matter. Like in one of the grades, after years of knowing each other, like we were just writing about a friend group or something, right? Something like that. And one of the girls says, like, it was describing me, and she's like, "Oh, she's like the more reserved one in the group." I'm like, in like I was saying earlier, like I was like, "Oh, I didn't realize I was being reserved," you know, like you know, I just thought I was being, you know, me, but
Right.
but I guess like just the things that happen that have happened in my past, like I wasn't really able to open up like I wanted to. Like it was hard for me to connect to people and stuff like that. And I was just really like I didn't understand why I was the way that I was. Like it was hard for me to, like I was saying, to connect to people. Like it was hard for me to talk to people, and I just didn't understand why and stuff like that. So it was really difficult for me growing up when I was little and stuff like that. Like I wanted to be the type of person that can talk to everyone and just be comfortable around everyone, but there just reaches a point where like I put up a wall without even realizing it. And
So where and I know you said you didn't know, but without realizing it, you say you put up a wall. Do you know why you might have put up a wall?
Oh, for sure. So I'll open up about that because it's a thing that a lot of people go through, I've realized, but not a lot of people up about it. So when I was little, I got SA'd by an adult. I was only like first, second grade, something like that. And I was just really in denial about it for a very long time, like how much it's actually affected me. I was like, oh yeah, that was bad, but I was still able to function. I was still be able, you know, like, it could have been worse, you know, like just kind of, what do you call it? I can't remember the word for it. But anyways, yeah. So, and just this past few months, like it just helped me to realize, oh my gosh, like I didn't realize how much of an effect that actually did
Right.
have on me. You know, because when you're little, like that's the time like you develop like everything, like the way you think and the way you act and everything, you know. So then and I think part of me, like I was just trying to hold that secret because I felt like the weird one, you know. I felt what's the word? I'm trying to think of it. I felt like out of place in a way, like I wasn't like everyone else, and I think that's the root cause, you know, like
Right.
just like without knowing it, I felt like shameful about it, you know, because I didn't know how to process it. I just kind of shut down. I just like put it in the back of my mind, like, you know.
Do you feel like in a way like the wall kind of had to like go up because you were holding on to something that like you were kind of keeping a secret? I mean,
Oh,
if
yeah,
we could
for
be
sure.
real, like you were keeping a secret, and one, you didn't know how to process the information that you have, and then two, who is allowed to have this information? Like, am I allowed to tell people? Like, should I tell anybody? So I could imagine like you were probably pretty like lost as a child at that moment.
Oh, for sure. Because I didn't tell anyone about it at all, you know. And yeah, that wall went up because part of me is like, I guess I was afraid to speak because I'm afraid like people might find out about it, you know? So I don't
Right.
really like it. You remember even when we met, like it was difficult for me to talk about myself. I'm like, oh, I don't know. I don't
Oh
know.
yeah, bro. I tried so hard to get any information out of you. I'm like, what's your favorite color? Like one word answers. And it was like sometimes it was like if you were thank you, you just put words to it. It was like literally hitting a wall
Oh yeah.
to just try to communicate.
hmm
So I can wow. Okay. Yeah, so I can imagine you as like a child,
Oh yeah.
like it being very difficult. What age? Like what age was this?
Like I said, probably like around first and second. So maybe
First and
what would
second.
that be?
That'd probably be like
Like
around
5
like
or 6
4 or
or something.
5, 4 to 6, somewhere
Yeah.
around there.
Yeah, somewhere. So it was
You're
young.
probably right. I'm probably wrong.
Yeah,
It's
it's
probably like
fine.
5 or
It's
6, nowhere
around
4.
there.
So 5 or 6, and now you're holding on to a secret, and it's
Mhm.
causing social issues because
Oh
now
yeah.
there's a wall
hmm
up.
Like I was protecting myself in a sense too, looking back at it, you know.
Right.
Like it's just what's it called? Like natural instincts in a way, you
Oh
know.
yeah. Oh yeah. It's like a
Defense mechanism. I
yeah.
don't know.
There it
Yeah.
is. There it is. I didn't want to say like trigger or anything like
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
but like it was a defense mechanism because you were forced to protect yourself.
And it sucks because I want to be able to talk to people, but I couldn't. You know, like it just I would freeze my brain. Like nothing. I could like my brain would blank when I try to talk to people. Sometimes, you know.
I got you. All right. So you're dealing with that growing
Yes.
up, and then did that affect you in any other areas? I don't want to like rush or
Oh yeah,
anything. Take
yeah.
as much time as you want. Like
Like I think so. Like, and it probably affect more areas than I even realized. Like before, you know, like I was trying to explain to you before that it didn't hit me until like even last week, like the couple weeks ago, like how deep it was, like the
Right.
wounds, you know,
I
like, and
remember.
it's just starting to like unravel and stuff like that. Like, and one of the parts that affected me is it made me angry, like inside, you know, like I try to hide inside, but there's times where I blow up. Like my close family members, they would know what I'm talking about. And then I felt shameful about that because now, okay, I'm angry. I hate that was such an ugly part of me, you know. So I kind of buried that too because I didn't know how to process it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like part of it, the anger was because I just felt unhappy. Like it didn't know why I had to go through that. Like, you know.
Right. Well, you're. If I could just say it, you're a freaking child. You shouldn't have
Yeah.
to go through like you shouldn't have to be going through what you're going through. Man. Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. We've talked in the past couple of
Yeah.
weeks and how God's revealed some things on how deep that's actually affected you.
hmm
But I can only imagine what it would have been like or what you would have been going through as a child, not knowing how to express
hmm
what you're going through due to certain situations. And wow, yeah. Well, thank you for that. Like, literally, seriously, Pauline, I love you. Thank you for your vulnerability. I believe you're already helping people. Okay, so that is a reason why it was hard for you to be social growing up. And so as you said, probably affected other areas and in your life as you were growing up. Did it have anything did it have any effect on like your social dynamics within the home?
Not that I know of, because to me that was just how I acted normally. Like I still talk to my parents, stuff like that, and yeah, not that I know of, because that's, you know, like I was saying, like, that's we're used to talking to each other, how we acted at home. You know what I mean?
I got you. And wow. Yeah, I love you. I love you, and I love how open you're being right now. Yeah, you can go you can go anywhere. Go for
I'm
it.
trying to think where else to go with it. Oh yeah, and I guess like to add, you know, start talking about God in this. So, oh yeah, sorry. So with my parents, my dad is Catholic or grew up Catholic. You know, he was raised in a Catholic household. household.
Household.
And my mom, she was raised Buddhist, so she considers herself Buddhist right now. And because they just had two different religion and stuff like that, like they didn't try to push anything on me and my brother.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think. Sorry, I'm trying to say.
No, you're fine.
Yeah, so we never really talked about God or religion or anything growing up. Like I went to Catholic church like twice because my dad's mom was in town one time and stuff like that. But and I guess I considered myself like agnostic or atheist at the time, like when growing up, because my parents wanted me to focus on school more than religion or anything like that.
Right.
And
so God's not even like a.
Oh yeah, like my whole life,
point.
like I didn't really pray or anything like that,
Mm-hmm.
Like I lived life just like this is what it is, like we're here, gotta live,
and then we're not.
Yeah, go through emotions of life, just so never really thought about God. I think the earliest memory I had, like I think I shared this with you one time, like if anything, like talking about God or anything, because I think I was really kindergarten or preschool or something like that. I remember like being outside. I don't remember all the details, of course, because that was such a long time ago. But I was talking to like two of these girls or something like that, and one of the girls talking about God, and I was like mentioned something about God, and I was like, "What's God?" She's like, "Oh, what? You don't know who God is? Like just being a child, like a pure child." So and then
oh my gosh, an evangelist at a young age.
But no, listen to this. It's so bad. So
what? Okay, I got you. I'm locked in.
So she's like, "You don't know who God is?" And then she's like, "He's the one that made all of us." Like I don't remember everything she said, but he made this world. And I was like, "Oh, he's not real."
Oh, yeah.
So I probably crushed this girl's heart. She's like, "Oh, she said God's not real." Like she was shocked. But it really shows like how like our sinful nature is. Like even at such a young age, like I rejected God. I didn't even know much about him except like he's not real.
Right.
So yeah.
I mean, at that point, you don't really know much of God. You only know what you know at that point, and that's
which
like
is nothing.
It's literally nothing.
Yeah.
But any experience that you've had at that point is just like somewhat religion. Like to you, you're just going to a building where people are probably standing up, sitting down, singing a little bit.
Oh, that was before I even went to church.
Oh, that was before.
Yeah, like I was
okay.
little.
Dang.
Yeah.
Kids say
Savage.
The darndest things. Like you was a savage kid out here in your sinful nature. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so that was my earliest memory of anything about God. I think I did have some nannies that watched like videos that were in Vietnamese, but like it's like about Jesus and stuff like that. I don't know the whole thing, but yeah. So yeah, that's my childhood with religion and stuff like that, I guess. I wanted to touch upon.
Yeah, I'm so happy you shared that little nugget. That dang.
I know that poor kid.
I know.
No, I'm like, she probably went to her mom or parents, and then they're probably like, "We need to pray for her," like who knows. But yeah.
Oh my gosh, what age was this?
Like I think I don't remember, but maybe like kindergarten, if not younger, like maybe preschool or something. I don't remember at all, but yeah.
So, all right, I'm just saying this probably isn't true, but I'm just trying to like imagine you because I've seen a younger picture of you, and it's adorable. I love it.
But yeah, like that one, I kind of looked sad in too.
Yeah, bro, you did. That's why I'm able to picture all this. And you were just this sad little. Like I know how I'm going to describe you, bro. You were. Oh my gosh!
A picture right now.
No, I am not showing anybody that picture. I feel bad for any of you guys who can't see it, but yeah, she was just this sad. I'm going to say it cute, but sad looking chubby Asian girl who was quiet and reserved, but then bottled everything up and at one moment lashed out at this young little girl.
I know. I was just nonchalant. Like, oh, he's not real. Like nonchalant about it.
Oh, he's not real.
Like, she's like, poor girl.
Oh, bro, you traumatized her.
I hope she's still safe to this day, but who knows?
Oh my gosh. When we're on the other side of heaven, you're going to meet her and she's going to be happy that you were safe. Oh my gosh. Okay. So that's your first memory of God.
Mhm.
And then we talked a little bit about your childhood, some issues you had, and we can go anywhere.
Oh yeah. So I remember being in 8th grade. Sorry.
No, listen, you're fine. We
So
can jump here to
yes.
there. I want to make sure you get everything out. Like I said, this is to give people context to who
hmm
you are.
So in 8th grade, there was a exchange student from Korea that started going to our school.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was 8th grade. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, and then I remember she's talking to me later on. She's like, you know, when I first came up to you, like before I talked to you, I thought you were like a very mean person because my face, like I was just not a happy kid, you know?
Right.
Yeah, just bottling anger and stuff like that, like insecurities, dealing with spirit of rejection, you know, and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, yeah, when I first came up to you, I thought you were probably mean, but when I actually talked to you, like you're very nice, like it surprised me and everything. And then like she was actually Christian. And then in the 9th grade, when we were freshmen in high school, we were on a field trip or something to. And we were on the bus, and on the way back from the field trip, she would talk to me about Jesus. Like she would share the gospel with me. Like, and at that time, I was like, so okay, I don't really understand it. Like, I'm not a bad person. You know how it is.
Like, I think I'm good,
Yeah, it's like
actually.
I do everything in my power to be good.
Like
you know?
I didn't even steal that pencil
Yeah.
from that girl. Like I'm not a thief. I'm a good person.
Yeah, because back then, like when you think of sinner or a bad person, your natural definition would be like murderer, thief, like criminal. You know, those
Right.
are the ones that deserve to go to hell. You know, like just what
Mhm.
TV teaches us, like media teaches us, stuff like that. Like those are the bad people. So when she was like evangelizing me, you know, I'm not a bad person. Like I don't cuss, like
Right.
and stuff like that. I don't drink. I don't do drugs. You know, like a person's definition of a bad person, whatever that belongs in hell. You know, so. Like I would listen like with an open heart because I was being kind to her, you know. I said, "Oh, okay,
Mhm.
like, okay."
Well,
And
you were being the good person.
yeah, exactly. That did, you know. So, yeah, she's like, "I just wanted to share with that with you because I know you're a good person. Like you have a good heart and stuff like that." And like, she's so sweet about it. Her name is Rachel. Like that's her English name when she came over here. Yeah. So that's just one of the first times like God sent someone to evangelize to me, like to share the gospel with me and stuff like that. Like I, just looking back at it, like God's so good. Like even back then when I rejected him, like even as a little kid, like, it shows like how much we like in our sinful nature, we hate God,
Yeah.
like we reject him. Like, yeah, but God's good. Yeah.
He is.
hmm
Gosh. And you didn't even know.
I know.
You
So-
didn't even know. Okay, so that's 9th grade.
Yes. So yeah, I just went through. There's not much else in my high school really that stands out, I guess. Yeah, I just went through life.
I got you.
Yeah. But after high school, yeah, I went to college for a little bit and then took a little break and stuff like that. Like, because I was going for nursing, but it just wasn't. I don't know. I just didn't know what to do with my life really. So, yeah, and then I came to like a really low point in my life at the time, and excuse me, and yeah, I was just going through some things. Like I was like in a dark place, and I remember one night I just started crying. Like, and this isn't the first time it's happened. Like even when I was a little kid, I would just have these moments where I just would cry to myself to sleep just because I would like replay my life over my head. Like in my head, I'm like that because that spirit of rejection, like
Yeah.
I didn't feel like I had any value in to me. And like I remember there was a time like when I was in PE, for some reason, the gym teacher would line the girls up and have the boys pick out the girls, like, kind of like in a team, whatever, when you're
I
trying to
gotcha.
pick teams. So like they'll go down the line of boys and they would each pick one. I don't understand. And then I was always the last girl to be picked. So just that rejection and stuff like
Right.
that. And I would just just cry myself to sleep. And this is one like me being like an 18-year-old like, or 19. Wait, I think I was like 20 around the time. Like, it was just another night, like, it was similar to that. I was just like feeling rejection. Like, I wish it was, like, I wish I wasn't created. I wish I never existed, you know? So I was just crying and just playing my life over my head. Like, I was thinking, like, times where it's like I was in class and, like, we had to team up with someone. It's like, I wish I wasn't there, so because no one would be forced to be my partner, you know?
I'm about to cry right now.
And then also, like, my essay played in my head, and, like, I felt like I was dirty. You know? Like, who would want to be with someone that went through that? And I'm just crying to God. Like, it didn't make sense. Like, what's the purpose of being alive right now? Like, it'd be easier if I wasn't alive. Like, I wasn't suicidal, but I just didn't want to exist, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, this word didn't make sense. Like, okay, so you live, or you get born, you get a hard childhood where people get, you know, are mean to each other, stuff like that. You go to school, like, you're always tired all the time. And then you get a job and then work through that your whole life, and you die. It's like, what's the point of life, you know?
Right.
And then I asked, this is like the first time I actually prayed. I don't even think I even did it out loud, you know? I was like, God, if you're real, like, show me. Like, what's the point? Like, why am I here? Like, I didn't even believe in God, but I was just searching for something, you know? I was trying to make sense of it. So I ended up just crying myself to sleep. Woke up, like, in a way numb, you know? And just went on with life. And then a few months later, I started working where we work now. And I met John. And I believe, like, I didn't realize at the time, but now that after I got saved, I realized that God sent me John to share me about God, because John grew up Christian and stuff like that. Even though he wasn't living right, he was still, like, doing stuff he knew he should have done, but he's still Christian, and I believe that God sent him to me to tell me about Jesus, to tell me about God, and yeah.
I love
Sorry,
you.
my glasses are foggy.
Oh my gosh. I love you.
I love you.
And I'm so thankful that I'm so thankful for God, because just you going through what you went through, and being raised how you were raised, and just living that life, and to find yourself in bed. I believe you said you were in bed. In bed, like other nights where you just questioned your own existence, questioned life, and you questioned, why are you even here? Like, what's the reason? And for you to not even pray verbally, but for you to just be reaching out.
Oh yeah, like, he's heard my heart.
He
You know, my
did.
heart cry.
Like, your heart was pleading for him, and you didn't know it yet, but he was working. He was working.
Yes. And, like, some people believe, like, in a way, like, oh, God's not going to listen to you unless you this and this and this and this. But I wasn't even saved, like, but he heard me. He knew, you know, he knew that I was having a difficult time. Like, he knew, like, I was, like, suffering inside, you know, and he still heard me. Like, I was not a good person, you know, like, now looking back at it. But he still loved me enough.
Oh to see, like, because I'm seeing this from both angles now, like a person that's pleading for help, pleading and praying, and then so you got the prayer and then you got the answered prayer, and it's like I don't know why it's hitting me a certain way right now that I am your answered prayer.
Yeah.
Like, I know I've joked about it before. It's like, yeah, then he sent you me. And I am not what you would I'm not what you would think as an answered prayer, especially back then, because I was going through my own crap. I was coming out of a season.
Oh, yeah.
And I was trying to be better, but I was still a wreck.
Mm-hmm.
But even being a wreck, I was still an answered, I was still an answered prayer.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I was a messy answer, but I was an answer. And I guess maybe that just testifies to God's goodness and how he's able to use anyone.
Oh, yeah. Like, he's not a respecter of men. You know?
He is not. And he doesn't care what season you're in. He doesn't know, he doesn't care what you're going through. I mean, he cares, let's be real.
Yeah,
he cares very much. But he's not going to wait. He's not going to wait for you to get out of your mess before he starts to.
Because in the end, he knows like what's going to come out of that, you know, like even though we did sin and stuff together, like he still knew the end result and everything and where it would lead us in the end, like, you know what I mean?
I guess now is a good point. I need your permission though. Would you like to share our testimony a little bit?
Oh yeah, that's
I don't want to lead.
It would make
I don't want to
but...
lead the whole thing.
Okay, that's right.
By all means, I know I tell it a certain way, but I feel like you're more adorable than me, and I try to joke about some things I'm actually kind of shamed about. Or I wouldn't say I'm wearing shame or anything like that, but like looking back on, I'm like, dang man, like I was a straight up D bag. Like, all right, so that mic is sensitive. All right, so yeah, we're just chilling, guys. So you come to Best Buy, and all right, you guys ready for this? Hallmark. We're gonna get Hallmark right now.
Let's paint the picture.
I'm gonna paint the picture. So I just came out of a specific season in my life to where I was broken, and I was not exactly living right, but I was trying to be better. I was seeking God more. It was around a time where I was celibate for a year, and I was just trying to do the right thing and just live for God. And even in my ignorance, like I didn't know what that really looked like or what that meant, but I wasn't even going to church, but I just know because I was raised in church, I knew about God and knew like you got to live a certain type of way. So I was trying, like I was really just looking at him as Savior and trying to do things out of my works instead of having him be my Lord and direct me.
And kind of like doing checks and balances in a way, like, oh, I did that bad, but I did this good.
Oh yeah,
so
like I haven't had sex for a year, but I'm still smoking weed. Like, come on, bro. Like, all right. So within my ignorance, I am kind of seeking after God and just trying to live right. And I got a job at Best Buy. Distribution.
Yeah.
Yep, Best Buy. Yeah. Whenever you say Best Buy, they're automatically thinking like,
the store.
Yeah, you're at the store, bro.
Oh,
like,
you do electronics?
Yeah, like get me a TV. Like, no. It was actually for a busy season, or for their seasonal work,
yes.
Which is a much busier season for them. So they hire a whole bunch of people, and I got a job there. I don't even remember my position. I think it was like a floater.
Yeah.
Like I didn't really have an official position.
It's like gopher, right? That's what you feel about like a little bit.
So I got a job at Best Buy, and you got a job at Best Buy. And I can remember the day that this woman walked into my life. It had nothing to do with the fact that she was the only Asian that was walking in with that group of people, but she was highlighted. She was
illuminated.
She was, because in the same way that she prayed for me, I want to make sure I tell this story right, because there's
Oh, yeah,
so
it's
much that
fine.
goes into it. Because
Oh, yeah, there's
God was
layers.
intricate, dude. Layers. God was intricately working. So I was all right. So here it is. I was coming out of a bad season in my life, a bad relationship. It was horrible. I thought I had a kid and everything. And I was with this girl that I shouldn't have been with, and I came out of that relationship. I kind of gave God my word. I made a vow. I was like, I'm not gonna have sex for like until like I meet somebody that I'm supposed to be with. Because I'm like, I can remember praying, which is so crazy to think. Part of me just can't wait to get to heaven and see if we were praying on the same night. But I can remember laying on the couch in an apartment that I'm about to get evicted from, and I was praying to God. I was reaching out to God. And I was like, God, I want the woman that you want me to be with. I want that perfect woman. And I started to name these things out. I started to say, I want her to be like this. I want her to be like that. And like I had a certain idea in my head of just like not even like looks, just like I was praying for a heart, a heart. And I reached out to God and woke up the next morning, didn't get the answered prayer, but I kept living and ended up working at Best Buy. And I can remember the day that you walked in, and I can remember I seen you through a whole bunch of things. Like I just seen
Like
you,
shelves, right?
bro, shelves, there's boxes everywhere. And I can just remember you walking in, and I just seen you for a brief second. And then like, we didn't even lock eyes. This isn't like fully Hallmark. This wasn't like we locked eyes, but
Hair blown.
you're right. But I seen you, and I wanted to know you. And I tried my best to get to know you. And I would just ask you questions, and it was like going up against a wall because I was just trying to get information from you about who you were. Cause I'm like, is this my person? Like, is this my person? She's cute. She just like, she has this innocence about her. But she don't like, it was almost like you were playing hard to get, honestly.
It was,
and you weren't.
I just it was antisocial.
Right. You just had a wall up.
Yeah.
So at that point, I'm trying to get to know you, and it's like that flirty stage. Like, what's it like for you at this point? Do you remember?
When we first met, I hope it's okay.
Yeah. Listen, yes, say it.
When we first met, I thought you were gay. Because the way he was dressed, like, I don't know.
Hey.
And just your mannerisms sometimes and the things you say, I guess. I thought you were gay, so I was like, oh yeah, I get to make my first gay friend. So I just thought you wanted to be friends at first.
My gosh. All right, Pauline, you can just say it. I had a sense of fashion.
It was fashion.
It was fashion. Thank you very much. I looked good in that scarf. For real though, yeah. Gay. Thought I was gonna be your gay friend.
I think the moment where I realized that you weren't gay and that you were actually flirting with me is one time we were walking out. Or at first I was there was another guy that liked me there at the time.
Yes.
He was being flirtatious. And so I think he was like walking behind me, or like we're about to, like all three of us were walking at the same time. And then I was walking in the front towards, and then you kind of like jumped in next to me and you started asking me questions and stuff like that.
Yep.
Like, hey, so do you have any talents? Like any special talents?
Oh yeah.
Any hobbies?
I was a certain dominance right there. I was 100%.
So then I walked out and I was like, oh wait, I think he likes me. Like, so that's how I knew that, oh, he might not be gay.
Yeah, no, I definitely wasn't gay. He might not be gay. I think he likes me.
Yeah, so that's the moment I realized, oh.
I love you. All right. And then, all right. So from then, I'm trying to get to know you. I can remember this. Oh my gosh. So you want to talk about a Hallmark moment? This was adorable. So, she was, like I said, I thought she was playing hard to get. Realistically, she was just kind of antisocial.
So I don't know what to talk about, man.
Yeah. So right away, I felt like I had to take the lead and be the gentleman, of course. And I wrote my number down Like, I didn't go asking for them digits, girl. Like, I wrote my number down, wrote my number. And I remember you were sitting in the lobby because you didn't have your license at the time.
Yeah, yeah.
And you were sitting in the lobby waiting for your ride. And we weren't close enough for me to give you a ride yet. So I walked up to you and I handed you the paper. And I can't remember, did I hug you?
No, you just hand it to me.
Okay, so I just handed it to you, and then I didn't say nothing. I turned and I walked out the door, and right before I walked out the door, I looked in the reflection, and all I could see is this cute little girl. She looks down, opens it up, smiles, and then looks towards me, and I played it off Gucci. Like, I played it off. I didn't look back or nothing.
But you saw the reflection in the glass,
dude,
right?
I seen it. Oh my gosh. So yeah, I gave you my number.
Yes.
And then we started talking.
Mm-hmm.
And then at that point, I was able to give you rides. Because I'm like, yo, I found out you didn't have a license.
So run that.
I was like, yeah, I need to be in this girl's life outside of work. So we, I started giving you rides.
Mm-hmm.
I started giving you rides. And I can remember one time specifically that I was giving you a ride home. And I tried to hold your hand.
So we're walking out of work. We're walking out of work, and so I usually wear like sling bags. What do you call it? Messenger bags?
Yeah.
And I had like a little purse, so it was on my left side where you were at, and then I felt something because your hand was like going towards mine, and I thought you were putting
I
something
was
in
doing
my
that whole,
bag.
like, pinky thing. Just like, give me your hand.
I'm like, what are you doing? So I just, out of the corner of my eye, I was just like, I felt like you were doing something, and I was like, what are you doing?
Just trying to rob you.
I thought you were trying to put something in my bag or something. I didn't even think about robbing, but I was like, what are you doing? And you're like, you just clammed up or something.
Oh yeah, bro. I was like, I stiffened up like a board, bro. Like, I was sitting there trying to, like, I was so nervous though. I was so nervous. Like, I ain't been with nobody.
Mm-hmm.
I found someone, like, there was something in me. I knew you were the one, and I just wanted to go after you. Like, I didn't want, like, it was one of those things where it's like, I want to say it this way, and whether people understand it or not, I don't care. I didn't want to pervert that, like, because at this time, like, I was trying to get information from you, and I found out, like, you ain't never even kissed a boy.
Oh yeah, I never dated anyone. Well, I went out on dates, but I never had like a boyfriend officially or anything. Yeah,
Right. Well, you went out on one date.
a couple of dates.
Couple dates.
Yeah.
I don't think I heard couple
Oh,
dates.
stop.
Wait, I think, no, you've told me.
I didn't lie to you, sir.
So at this point, though, you have been on some dates, but you ain't never even kissed a boy. Which, one of those things, I'm not glad of what happened to cause it, but at this point, like, I'm kind of thankful that you were antisocial, because that stopped any boy from kissing you. But
that was just my natural like morals anyways. I was
Right.
like, I guess hopeless romantic. Like, no, it has to be one, like first kiss everything. You know what I mean? Like,
I love
it was just
it.
very pure in that sense, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah. Like, I just want to be with the right person, like, the one, you know? I
Right.
just had that innocence about me back then, you know?
And I loved it. I literally loved it because, all right, so I'm gonna tell you this. I don't think I've ever told you this, but yeah, I don't think I ever told you this. So I grew up, I was, my mom raised me, and I was somewhat of a hopeless romantic too. Like, I didn't even lose like my virginity till I was like 17 and a half. And like, I was putting it off, like, and at like, when it happened or whatever, like, I didn't know nothing. Like, I'm just sitting out here, like, not knowing what I'm doing or anything like that. And I didn't even, like, I was nervous, didn't even want to do it. And I'm just like, yeah, because like, I was raised in the church.
Oh yeah,
and I wanted
bad.
Yeah, sex is bad. Like, that's the way they taught it. Sex was bad. But like, I wanted that perfect thing too. I wanted like the first kiss. I wanted the first to be with the person that I would be with, and that just didn't happen for me. So I guess like, when I seen you and I found out what I had in front of me, like, I wanted to protect it. I didn't want to pervert it. And I just wanted to take care of you. So yeah, I was just being like super cautious, and it made me nervous because I was like, I was just like trying to do the right thing. And yeah, then we just started getting closer, and
Start dating.
started dating, and then hormones kicked in. And we were in like the spring season of life where everything's new and beautiful and amazing.
The honeymoon.
Yeah,
season.
it was like that honeymoon season.
Phase, whatever.
Yeah. But yeah, it was like that, like everything was new and amazing and awesome. And yeah, we were going after it. And yeah, we made some mistakes. Like I said, hormones kicked in. I'm like, yeah, this is like when you know, you know. And I'm like super attracted to this person. So we ended up getting together, having sex, and yeah, I'm just gonna say it. You know me, I'm comfortable. People can feel the way they want to feel about things. We're being open. Yeah, we but at that time though, you didn't even like really know about God.
Didn't grow up in the church or nothing.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, I just knew that the basics that, you know, you shouldn't have sex before marriage, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And honestly, like my view on Christians back then, like I thought they were like judgmental, they're hypocrites, you know, like, and I would read scriptures online, like when people make comments and stuff like that. Like it was just like, ugh, like inside of me, it's like I hated it, honestly. Like it was annoying. Like
like, dang, you're a Christian, bro? Like,
but no, like at the same time, I didn't judge people in a way.
Oh,
like if I met you, like I just knew you, like, you know, I didn't like tag on Christians. Oh, that's a bad person or anything, you know. But just my view, because you know, like how media paints Christians, like yelling, like sinners, you're gonna go to hell if you don't repent, you know, like
picketing sign and everything, like turn, repent.
Exactly, just like angry Christians, like, you know,
yeah. So that's like. Yeah, that was your view. And then we're getting, oh my gosh, so I can remember. So when we started getting to know each other and everything, we were getting closer. And we were like, at this point, we're like trying to spend every day together.
Oh, yeah.
Because we work together and.
Butterflies. So.
Oh, yeah. Where I'm just like, I need to be around this woman. And I can remember laying in bed with you and I found out that you prayed for me, and I told you that I prayed for you too. And we found out that we were each other's answered prayers.
I can't remember. Did I tell you that time?
I believe you told me.
I think so, but I didn't completely understand it. I don't think.
Right?
You know?
Yeah. No. Yeah. Oh, we were like early stages, like butterflies and everything, like you said, to where we were just spending time together, and we were just caught up in love. Well. Realistically, it was lust. It was lust, bro. It was lust. I mean,
and you know, if looking back at this, like we wouldn't have done the same thing. You know, no. We wouldn't have had sex before marriage. We wouldn't have moved in together before we got married. You know.
Well, all right. So here we go. I don't want to rush. But all right. So coming out of the relationship that I was coming out of and going into this relationship. I looked at her and I was like, "Hey, listen, this is like I was open with everything." He was hurt. Yeah, I was like, "Hey, listen, I got baggage. This is what's going on, and just don't lie to me. Like I'm dealing with triggers and stuff like this, and I was just self-aware. Unfortunately, due to just what I was dealing with, and kind of like getting off track of like seeking God and just trying to do the right thing and getting caught up in the lust and getting caught up in this and that, I ended up, not like in a physical sense, don't come at me in the comments, but like I ended up abusing you emotionally and mentally.
Oh yeah. And like in a way, I think you'd even deceived yourself and didn't realize you were doing that, you know? It's just the enemy is playing, it had his hands in it, you know?
Oh yeah. And like we were just out here, like I remember we would be doing dumb stuff. Like we played with tarot cards.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like we were doing dumb stuff, but we were just young. We were just like super young.
I think part of you knew it was bad, but like, oh, let's just do it.
We were just out here being experimental, and your mom had them because she was Buddhist and she deals with spiritual things, and she ended up giving you a deck of tarot cards. And I'd never played with them. So I'm like, I'm just curious. I'm like, hey, let's do it. And I can remember, oh my gosh. So
we got.
Huh?
The card we got.
Bro. All right, but realistically though, all right, so you guys ready? You guys ready for this? So we just meet each other and we're hanging out, doing all this stuff, and we end up playing with these tarot cards.
I forget, was it like we had like a piece of paper and like it was like different?
Yeah. Oh yeah, because
Okay,
we
I'm
looked
trying to
it
remember
up.
what it
We
was.
looked it up. We were like, how do you even play with these? Because
Yeah.
we were hanging out and I think we were watching Supernatural because
Yeah.
that was our show back then. And we were eating pizza and we were in your room and I think I was just being weird and I was going around your room just being curious and I found the deck and I'm like, hey, what are these? And you told me your mom gave them to you. I'm like, I've never played with these. Let's play with them. And they were like, I was like, do you know how? She's like, no. So we like look it up how to do it. And we start playing with these cards. And we're asking these questions. Like, listen, I don't advise anybody to
Oh yeah, don't
this.
do it.
Do not do
that's
this.
demonic. Like
It's
that's an open
bad.
door.
Listen, it is bad. We can laugh about it now because we're covered by the blood.
Oh,
we're
yeah.
protected, but we learned from our mistakes. But it was so bad because we're sitting there playing with these cards and we're asking these questions and these cards are coming up and we're looking at the answers and we're like, oh, okay. And then I can remember, what was it? Was it we asked if we should be together or not?
Oh, I think it was. Yeah, the very
yes.
last card that we pulled,
The
right?
very last card. And there was an importance on what this card did. But we asked, should we be dating or should we be together? I can't remember how we phrased it. And then what card popped up?
Was it like the devil card, the Satan card?
It was like
or
the
something?
devil card or the death card. Which is even like, I want to say it's funny, but it gives clarity because looking back on it now, it's like, okay, we can look at it twofold. If it was the devil card, then us being together means that the devil's trying to come at us because
trying to end our relationship.
Oh yeah, because he doesn't want us together, knowing what we're doing now and knowing how we're living our lives now, which praise Jesus. Or if it was the death card, it was kind of like looking back in a spiritual way, like, yeah, if y'all gonna be together, guess what? You guys are gonna have to die. You guys are gonna have to die. Because that's what marriage is.
Oh yeah,
that's what marriage is. We love each other, so we die to ourselves for each other.
It honestly freaked us out when we pulled it. Okay, we're putting this away. Like,
oh yeah,
we don't really completely understand. I think we even Googled it or something just to make sense of it. Like, okay, we're done with this.
Yeah, we were done. We were done. It freaked us out, and then on top of that, we took a picture in that very same room and in the video, like, because
the movie, yeah. So we were watching Supernatural, and like when you zoom in the back, like with the screen, like it looked like a face.
Yeah, there was a face on the other side of the
freaked
screen.
You out because I think you went home and you saw that, right?
Yeah. And yeah, so we were done. We were done with that. It was like one of those things where, our friend at the time, we asked her, like, I told her about this experience, and she had had some experience with the supernatural and dealing with spirits and this and that.
She's Christian.
Oh, she's Christian, and I asked her what we should have done or what we should do, and she was like, burn everything. She's like, burn everything, get rid of the cards. Like, because she told me the experience that she had with a video camera and she had to burn it. Which, come to find out, a lot of times you do have to burn those things.
For sure.
You do have
close
to get rid of. Oh yeah, close that spiritual door that you opened by really just being ignorant and just being curious. Like, curiosity kills the cat.
Oh yeah, and they call witchcraft, and I think the King James version, they call it curious arts. You know, like it's curious. You're curious about it.
Yeah.
And you open doors that way sometimes.
Because we are spiritual beings.
Oh,
and regardless if somebody admits it or not, like, we are trying to seek out spiritual things. Like, we want to know that we are connected beyond this physical realm, I believe. And when we do that in the wrong way, then there ends up being consequences.
Has to be God's way, you know?
Oh, yeah. We can't be seeking out here for our own selfish desires and our own selfish wants. But, yeah, so that was our experience there. And then, we started dating. Your parents didn't like me.
Oh, no.
Your parents didn't like me at all. Because
tattoos, you know,
tattoos. I was white and I wasn't. They're not racist. Okay, I want to clarify this. Okay, but I mean, let's be real. Parents have a certain idea who they want their kids to be.
And
with.
I was their youngest daughter. Like, only
Yeah.
daughter.
You were the baby of the
yeah,
family.
yeah. And I've never dated anyone, so this is like a big thing, for
Yeah.
them, you know.
And I'm somewhat coming in trying to do the right thing,
Mhm.
impress them, and I'm kind of like getting a cold shoulder. And then also having a separation when it comes to like language. There's a language barrier
Mhm.
there too. They knew English, but like
They do have a bit of an accent, yeah. So.
yeah. I love their accent.
Mhm.
But yeah, I was white. I wasn't a doctor. I had tattoos. I was a bad boy. Like, regardless if I was trying to do somewhat the right thing.
And we were rebellious when we
Yeah.
first started dating, like towards
Yeah.
my parents, you know, stuff like that. So.
And yeah,
Yeah.
because they didn't want us to be together.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And because they just wanted the best for you.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I was kind of just like, hey, let's go be adventurous. And now they're seeing this side to their daughter
Mhm.
that they never seen before. And I imagine for them it was pretty scary, and they didn't like it.
Because then we started moving in together too.
Yeah,
So.
because yeah,
I was like, my baby's moving out.
yeah, and yeah. So you moved out of your parents'
Mhm.
house. We moved in together, and here comes the season.
Season.
We're gonna talk about the wreck of me. Oh my gosh. Okay, so yeah. This is gonna take some courage, people. Yeah, so we move in together. And Holy Spirit, help me. If I'm not supposed to share something, tell me.
Yes.
So at this point, I have her. I have her. She's in my life. She's attached. She loves me. She's beautiful. She's all these things. And we end up moving in together. And yeah, I ended up just being stupid. I was no longer trying to live the right way. I was hanging out with the wrong crowd. Love them to death.
Oh, yeah.
They're awesome
Mhm.
people. But I wasn't doing the right thing. I became an alcoholic. I was doing a bunch of drugs. I was even tempting you with trying drugs and
Oh yeah.
and having experiences that you never had before. And we're just out here kind of like innocent in a way, but just not living right. We're living together out of wedlock. We're intimate together. We're just in lust. I'm drinking. I'm doing drugs. I am just living the wrong lifestyle. Like, we'll put, like, it was so bad, bro. It was so bad. Like, you would pretty much just be at home
Oh yeah.
while I was out doing, like, I was out almost every
Oh, yeah.
freaking night.
For my birthday the first year
Oh my
we lived
gosh, bro.
together.
Listen,
Yeah.
forgot your birthday.
I understood you were going through some things at the time, but still I was like, bro.
Yeah, well, yeah, no, like you're this young girl,
Oh
and I don't care who you are. And I'm not saying it's only girls who do it, but we have this image, we have this idea of what we want our lives to look like and how we want our relationships to be like. So now I'm your first kiss. I'm the first person that you've been with intimately, and I'm the first person you've lived with. And I end up being a big D-bag and not doing the right things. And you're just suffering in silence. And you didn't deserve that.
I was already dealing with the insecurities like my entire life, so that wasn't helping, you know? Yeah.
And yeah, we just weren't living right. And not to get too detailed, I want to be very careful. But I'm not gonna get too detailed. But I had reached a certain time or a certain point in that season to where I was seeking God, and God was trying to get a hold of me. Oh my gosh, He was trying to get a hold of me before I got out of control. And one day I can remember because this had been years at this point. Like since we met in
Oh, yeah.
2018, and then
Wait, no, we met.
or no. Sorry. We met in 2015.
Yeah, the end of it.
The end of 2015. We started dating February 12th of 2016.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember dates now, people. And then we started dating, and then months later we moved in together.
Mm-hmm. I think maybe a year later or something like that.
A year later.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think 17 we did.
Okay. And then at this point, it had been like 2 years. And God got a hold of me one day while we were at work. Was this it? I'm trying to think if this was the. Oh no!
No, I think that a lot of things happened before that.
A lot of things happened before that.
Yes.
So listen, a lot of things happened. I was a horrible person. Pauline and I had been going through it because I had been putting her through it.
We were just during a rough patch, and then my dog died. Like he was my baby.
Oh my gosh!
So I was just like, yeah, I was in a bad place at that time too, because it was just all these things going in 1 year. Like that never happens to me. Like usually, like I didn't have an easy life, but like not a lot of bad things happened. So it was just really hard. Like I had my dog Marshmallow for like since 7th grade, so it was like half my life at the time. Like I had him, and I was like, I didn't have him because he was my buddy. Like when I was going through a hard time, like at home and stuff like that, he was always with me. I would hug him, like yeah.
Yeah.
So yes.
So you were,
that was a crush.
Oh yeah.
So
at this point, you're even more alone, and I'm not making matters worse, and I'm not gonna be descriptive.
Oh, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be vulnerable. Listen, in time, people. But I just wasn't doing the right thing, and she had been going through it, pretty much suffering in silence, and God got a hold of me. God got a hold of me, and I was trying to stop drinking. I was trying to stop doing drugs. I was trying to do better. And I can remember one night I was like trying to, oh my gosh, I can remember sharing Jesus with you.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh. Do you remember that night?
There was like several times you have tried to share Jesus. Wait, let me go back a little bit if that's okay.
Yeah.
So like when we first started dating, like when I was still living with my parents and stuff like that, you came, or we were talking one time, you're like, I just need to tell you about this. Like, so you need to know this when the time comes. Like you were talking about the mark of the beast.
Yeah, bro. I was telling her about everything.
I was like, oh, okay.
It's like, whatever.
And yeah, so I knew you were a Christian. Yeah. So wait, I forget what else I was going to say. Oh, yeah. I'll come back maybe.
I got you.
Yeah.
So, like, when we met, I told you about Jesus. Like, I was
like, you never really oh, yeah, I remember what I was going to say. Sorry.
Go for it.
Like, because you grew up with Jesus, like, you grew up being told by Jesus, so you kind of assumed that other people knew about Jesus, too. Yeah. Like, because they were exposed to the same things, but I was not, so you're like, about, like, what the crucifixion was, right? Like, you thought I knew it all, but I was like, oh, yeah, like, Jesus died on the cross, right? Because that exchange student Rachel told me about that. So that's the only exposure I really had, So that's why you kind of assume. So that's why you never really share the gospel with me. Just share like end times, like parts of the, like
because I assume you. Oh, if you already know, I ain't got to say nothing. I was like, so
which is not true.
How do you feel about the end of the world?
Because you're like, I don't want you to take the mark of the beast when this.
Oh yeah, no. At that point, I'm like, I got to protect this woman. I got to protect her. Not knowing that I was trying to protect her from everybody but me.
No. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. So yeah, I can remember. So before we get to like the mess, well, we're actually like going through the mess at this point. So I had been doing bad things, not like cheating on her with other women or nothing like crazy like that. Yeah. I'm just being dumb. I'm being a guy out there hanging out with guy friends, getting drunk, doing drugs, just partying, being the social butterfly. I'm just like, I'm just a mess.
Filling a void, bro.
Yeah, I was literally just filling a void, thinking, oh my gosh, thinking that I had Jesus, thinking that I was saved, thinking that everything was okay and within my ignorance, I'm sitting there trying to witness to people too. Like, bro, it was dumb. So I remember sharing Jesus with you a few times. One time specifically, I'm like, hey, we got to watch The Passion of the Christ.
Oh, yeah. So let me share my point of view. So I remember it was during COVID. So this is 2020. You know, so in my eyes, like he's freaking out. Like he's seen Facebook posts probably. Like, this is the end times. This is what they're talking about in Revelation.
Yeah.
So in my eyes. And then, that's what, like, to me, like, it seemed like you're scared. So you're like, oh, like, you know, the Holy Spirit was working on you and stuff like that. So it was close to Easter. And then you're like, you know what Easter is, right? Because I think we were having a conversation. I was like, oh, yeah, sure. I was like bunnies and stuff. Because I honestly didn't know. Like, it's just one of those holidays, you know?
Right.
And then you're like, no, what?
It's like, it's not about bunnies.
Yeah. And then you explain, like, you know, Jesus died for us and he rose again on Easter, like, you know. And back then, like, he's tried to witness to me before, and I heard stories about other people, and I was like, well, if God's real, like, I feel like I won't really believe until, like, something magical happens, you know? And then you're like, bro, you're so excited. Bro, this could be the moment. Like, you don't know anything about Jesus, really? You know, I was like, let's watch Passion of the Christ. Like, this could be your magical moment you've been waiting for. I was like, oh, okay, let's watch it.
Trying to create a magical moment. Like, let me create a God moment.
Let me make the moment.
Like, jeez.
You're so excited. Okay.
Oh, yeah, bro. I was like, I get to witness to this woman. Like, she gets to go to heaven with me because I think I'm going to heaven at that point.
Oh, yeah. And I think that's the point where I realized that I didn't really know what the gospel was because you asked me too. I think that, you know, the gospel was right. And I don't know.
Right. And then we watched The Passion of the Christ. And then afterwards, I can remember sitting up on the bed. I'm like, okay, now do you want to pray? And I'm like, sitting here, like, I'm legitimately like, hold on. Like, I'm like, okay, now do you want to pray? And she's like, I'll
explain to you my perspective.
Please.
And the entire time we're watching, it was the first time I watched it. And John was kind of explaining throughout, like, while we were watching, she's like, oh, so that's Peter. He's the one that denied Jesus 3 times. That's what the crow meant because Jesus said this during, you know.
And the crow thing never even happened yet. Like, I'm sitting here trying to, like.
And he's like, pause before it happened. That's Peter. Like, is that, you know, like, it was in Hebrew, right? So we had to watch.
Arabic or?
I forget.
No, not Arabic. Sorry. Wow, that hurt my brain. I need to get this right. Jesus spoke Aramaic.
Aramaic? Okay.
Aramaic.
Oh,
I'm pretty positive. Aramaic. I was close.
Yeah.
He was a Jew who spoke Aramaic.
Yeah, so.
If I'm not mistaken, please don't come at, or if I'm mistaken, please don't come at me in the comments.
So, we're watching. It was all in subtitles, so you're, like, pausing it, like, because I don't know the story of Jesus at all, you know, like him dying on the, you know, like anything. Like, I didn't know, like, because you're like, pause, like, this is him in the garden praying and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I'm like, I'm trying to create a God moment for you while I'm interrupting this God moment several times.
But I'm trying, it helped though, because I didn't know anything, like, about the Gospels of, you know, Matthew and stuff like Luke, John. So, so you pause, like, that's who that is. So, and then I was watching it, like, trying to understand, of course, like, and then I did start crying because I'm like, is this, like, this is real? Like, this is, like, I can't remember the exact words, but like, whoa, could this be real? Like, this, could someone actually do this? Like, this really happen? You know, I was like, if it was, like, wow, like, so.
No, you're good.
Oh, yeah, so then you sat up after we watched, I'm, like, crying and stuff like that. And you're probably, yes, this is the moment. Right. Like, God's touching her.
I gotta pray for her right now. She's gonna get saved.
So then you're like, so do you believe in Jesus now? And I lied and I said, yeah. Because I was a people pleaser. I didn't want you to be upset. Like, you're so happy.
Right.
You know? So I lied and said, yeah. It's like, so you want to pray? I was okay. Being silent. And back then, like, we knew each other for years, but I never really opened up to you.
Yeah,
you know,
we were just existing, bro.
Yeah,
we weren't
sad.
intimate. We weren't intimate. We were just living with each other and just existing together. We're like glorified roommates.
Right, pretty much. So, trying to remember where I was at. So you asked, like, so you want to pray? I was like, yeah, sure, you know. So you got your phone and looked up the sinner's prayer.
Oh yeah, sure. Because that's how much I wasn't living correctly. Like, seriously, think about this. Like, and this isn't me coming at anybody, but if you think you're a Christian and you don't even know how to lead somebody to Christ in a prayer, really, really start questioning your salvation. I'm going to just be real. Because now looking back on my life and how I was trying to lead you to Christ when I wasn't even following him, like, bro, how dare I ever try to do that? Like, what? What? Not saying God's not able, not saying the Holy Spirit can't do things. I'm not saying that, but I'm like thinking back on it, like, bro, how can you lead somebody to Christ if you ain't even following him?
Yeah, because at that point you're trying to like do it in your own power.
Yeah.
You know, like you didn't surrender your life to God and you're not doing it his way, you know, like God still moved in it, but it's just like, it's kind of slower in a sense. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
And it's like, kind of like a spiritual work. Like I'm trying to get a spiritual notch on my belt. Like, hey, I saved another person. Like you didn't save no one, bro. Like, get out of here. All right. So I done told you about Jesus.
Went through the prayer and stuff.
Went through the prayer and,
sorry.
Go ahead.
So you're like, yay, she saved.
Yeah, like, hey, it's over.
And I lied. Oh yeah, so we went through the prayer and stuff like that. Yeah, so you're like, yeah, she saved. Like you started telling everyone at work. Like you went to a friend at work who's Christian. You're like, she saved.
Yeah, we got another one. We got another
and
one.
to be like, I didn't.
Family.
And back then, I still didn't know the gospel, so I was wondering why people are so happy. Like, oh yeah,
I'm here. Oh my gosh.
And then me, like, I'm panicking inside because, oh my gosh, I'm a fake Christian. Like, I lied.
Oh my gosh. Another secret she's got to carry. Oh no, I created trauma. Like, that's not okay. Oh my gosh. This is so great. I literally love you.
I love you.
All right. So, all right. Now at this point, now we can go into how God really started working.
Oh,
if you're
yeah,
okay
for
with
sure.
that.
Yes.
Okay. So, like I had already said and tried to lead up to, but I'm glad we were able to get that context in there. God had been working on me like really hardcore. And I remember this day specifically. Like I can remember this day. We had been trying to go to church and everything. And we were going like right across the street from our house. And we were just there. We were just literally there and just trying to, we were religious, honestly.
Yeah, well, with me personally, like I was still, like, I didn't still believe in God. I think I was like spiritually seeking. Like I remember one time, like after we got saved, and you kind of like got upset, like, why aren't you reading the Bible? We should be reading the Bible.
Like a switch is supposed to flip on the inside of you. Like, why aren't you seeking after God?
Yeah, and then me at the time, I was like, a little defensive. I was like, honestly, I didn't, like, in my brain, like, I didn't want to do this. You know?
Right.
It's like, John, I can't change overnight, you know? It's like, because all you knew was like King James. You didn't know like different translations or anything, right? And yeah, so like my heart was then like after that, like how'd you get me to actually start reading the word? Like, we kind of devoted time, like later on, like you thought about it. Okay, how about like we devote like an hour every day just so like you said you're going to read the word like in King James, trying to understand. You started Revelations, which might not have been the best in King James.
Yeah, because I wanted to understand it though. You got to remember
we were living during COVID time.
Yeah,
and everyone's like, talking about it.
We thought God was coming back.
Yeah. So you said you were going to read the Bible, and then sorry, let me go back a little bit.
No, you're fine.
So after I got saved and stuff, a few days after, a week after or something, we went to your mom, and then John's like, Pauline's saved now. I said, yeah. And then your mom gave me like a little, it's kind of like a study guide. I just summarized parts of the Bibles and stuff. It starts from Genesis to all the way to maybe Revelations. I can't remember. So yeah, so I got that book from your mom, and then you're like, okay, I'll read the Bible, and then you can read this book starting out, you know, because it's in plain English, like it's not
Right.
King James or anything.
The these and the
Yeah,
thous. And
right.
gosh.
So then I would read it and then I would ask you questions. Like I wrote with an open heart. Like I'm not gonna reject it right away. Like I chose, let me see what this is really about before I make my opinions on it. I was just open to it. It's like trying to understand, not like reading it just to criticize it. Like
Right.
some people do that. It's like, oh, this is stupid. Like,
And they expect us to experience God
Oh,
when
yeah.
they're being a critic.
right? Like you had to read the Bible with a pure open heart. Like, because that's how I was when I like, okay, let me consider it. And if it doesn't seem right, then I'll just, brush
Mhm.
it off, whatever. Like, maybe this isn't for me. So I would ask you questions during that time and stuff like that. So yeah, man, sorry,
No,
kind of
you're
took
fine.
you off track a little bit.
No, you're good.
Mm-hmm.
So we had been spiritually seeking.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And we started going to church. I
Mhm.
let us like, hey, let's
It was
go
like
to church.
it was like a study.
Yeah, it was
was
a Bible study.
Bible study. Yeah. It wasn't
on
actually church.
Revelation.
Yeah.
And on the book of Revelation. So we're in deep, trying to understand something like that.
Mhm.
And because it's a book that's hard to
Oh
understand.
yeah, you can't do without the Holy Spirit.
Oh,
Honestly.
yeah. So we're going to church on Sundays. We're going to a Bible study on Sunday nights, I
Mhm.
think.
Yeah.
And we're really just kind of, you're spiritually seeking.
yeah.
I'm
Mhm.
trying to walk correctly and seek after God in a way. And God had been getting a hold of me. I was still somewhat drinking and doing dumb things. And yeah, we had been doing that for a minute, and then God got a hold of me. Bro. All right, so and this is like one of the first times I experienced God's grace so much. So, while God was working on us, God grabbed me up one day at work, and he told me that I had to come clean because we had been talking about marriage. We had been talking about getting like
Mhm.
all these things. And all while we are going through this, like there's so many things going on right
Oh,
now.
yeah.
Like we're leaving that church to go to another church
Mhm.
because there was some spiritual abuse there and just some misunderstandings,
and
pride, and
Oh.
go ahead.
And I just, because I think that it wasn't their bad intentions. They thought they were doing the right thing,
Yeah.
but they just didn't know the right approach. I don't think,
Right. I agree
So
with you.
they unintentionally hurt
Oh, yeah.
us,
It was a complete misunderstanding.
Yeah. So I love him. So
Oh,
just
I
pray
love
for
them
him,
too.
Yeah.
Which
Mhm.
let's be real.
I'm just being,
Oh yeah, thank you.
covering all areas.
Please
Yes.
do, please do, because I don't want thank you. I
Oh,
don't
yeah,
want
yeah.
anybody to be out here thinking that Christians intentionally hurt people.
Mhm.
Like, no, that's not
Yeah,
it. Like,
there's just, how should I word this? There's just parts of Jesus that they haven't realized yet. Like they haven't
Yeah.
understood yet. They haven't known parts of him yet. So they're not able to give it, So they
Yeah.
just have a certain way that they think they should do things, but yeah. And at that time, like I felt like they were just lacking that love, and it's
Mhm.
just something that they need to learn, and it's okay, like
Oh, no,
we're all learning
I
more
agree with
levels
you.
and depths of God's love for people,
Mhm.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree with you completely.
Mhm.
Because how can you, as a Christian, how can you give a love that you haven't first
Exactly.
received?
Yes.
If you haven't experienced God in a certain way or on a certain
true
type
love
of
of God.
level,
Mhm.
how could you ever give that
Yes.
to another person? Whether that be grace, love, self-control, mercy, all the fruits of the spirit, patience. Like if you haven't realized God as being patient with you, how could you ever be
Oh
patient with
yeah,
somebody
we
else?
can't give something we've never received yet from God Himself.
Exactly. And yeah, so they were great people.
Oh
They
yeah.
had the best intentions. They were trying within their power to do what they felt was the right thing to do, and it was just a
Oh
misunderstanding.
yeah.
And I was somewhat still being rebellious.
Oh
I was
yeah.
I was seeking,
Mhm.
and I was dealing with authority issues.
Yeah.
And we had been leaving that church and went to another church, which we never left. We went to
Yes.
the Foster Way Church of God, and
Love it.
I can remember we were 3 to 4 rows up from the back, and you were standing on my left side. I was standing on the very outside aisle. on the far right side, and we stood for worship, and I can remember the moment that I just felt the Spirit and I lifted my hand.
Aw.
And I felt God. And I don't want to say it's like nothing I've ever experienced, like it's a special moment, but it's like something I like, it was familiar.
Yeah, and it's probably been a long time since you last felt it, right?
Yeah.
Because you haven't been really going to church. Like you would
Yeah.
go, you're the holiday Christian.
Yeah.
right?
Well, at that point, I'm an adult, being
Yeah.
like figuring out my faith and learning. Like I'm really just working out my own
Oh,
faith.
yeah.
Because I had been raised in church. I was raised in the Pentecostal movement. Like I'm used to people
Falling out.
falling out, running around, jumping over pews, like shouting and all that. Like I'm used to that. And when I guess in a way, I had either became numb to it because it's such an experience. Like I had either become numb to it or I forgot what it was like because I experienced it so much. It was like a second nature. So it's kind of like riding a bike. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the bike's always there.
Like it's so normal. You don't recognize it when you have that feeling, right?
Yeah.
In a sense.
So it was like, hey, I got a bike. Like, hey, I forgot I had a bike. I can ride this bike. So I'd raised my hand and I experienced the Spirit of God again, and it was familiar. And I'm like, yo,
This is the place.
This is. And
this is home.
It was like without knowing that you're hearing from God or knowing or like understanding his leading and all these things, I knew that's where we needed to be. So we had been going through that transition, and then while we're going through that transition, like God's like things are escalating in our lives. Like, yeah, go for it.
Did you want to go back into, because this is before we started going to Fostoria Church of God, the story you're about to tell, when you recognize God's grace during it? I think that's when.
Okay, well, I gave context to the fact that there's certain things going on.
Okay,
so before this moment happened at the Fostoria Church of God, when we were coming out of that other church, we were leaving a meeting. Yeah, no, you're right.
Okay.
Thank you. All right,
you're just trying to organize.
Listen, this is what I'm talking about. This woman keeps me in line. Okay, so this specific day.
Yes.
Okay, I don't need to give any other context.
And we were at work, and then God was speaking to you.
Yes, thank you. Okay,
Yes.
so God had been getting a hold of me, and while God had been getting a hold of me, this church was trying to help me. And I had a meeting that I had to go to after that day, or after work that day.
Yeah.
While I was at work that day, God had been talking to me. And this is like, it's so weird to think like I could hear God, like how he was talking to me.
So good.
And I can remember I was in your area of work.
Yeah, like you were loading our lines at work.
Yes, and I was driving a forklift, and I can remember God speaking to me and bringing to my memory the story of Abraham and Isaac, and how God asked Abraham to sacrifice and give his son back, pretty much give his son, like sacrifice your son to me. And God quickened me in my spirit. And I can remember getting out, like I drove straight to the bathroom, ran into the bathroom, and I started weeping because I knew what God was asking me to do. God was asking me to take the very thing that he gave me, and I ruined, and I perverted, and I used, and I abused, and I just irresponsibly took advantage of. And he told me to give that back to him. He had gifted me with something pure and innocent, and I ruined it. And he wanted to know if I would give it back. And I was weeping because I'm like, oh God, what does this mean? And he told me that I had to come clean about everything because we were going through things in our lives. We were talking about marriage. We were talking about all these things. And I knew that I could not enter in a marriage while holding these secrets, while being this person that I wasn't supposed to be and lying to you. I can remember all this. And I'm like weeping because I'm like, God, what if she doesn't want to be with me anymore? What if like, no, I don't want to do this. And yeah, I can remember leaving work that day and we went to the meeting. The meeting went horribly. I ended up getting into an argument with this pastor, and I was just being rebellious, and he was just trying. He was trying so hard. He was just trying to love me and direct me. And we left that place. We went home. I sat you down and I'm like, listen, I have to tell you something. And I came clean about everything. Like, I told you how horrible of a person I was. I told you all the things that I did. And yeah, I got... Okay, so I'm like a little weird right now because part of me wants to just start crying, but then another part of me wants to just laugh and be happy because within a horrible moment where I thought I was going to lose you, I got to experience God's grace.
Yeah. So, I mean,
Yes.
let me jump in. So months, let's go back a little bit. So a few months before that, like I just got saved, stuff like that.
Right.
And we were talking about marriage, and he asked me like, hey, would you marry me? Like, and then at the time I was hesitant. I was like, oh, honestly, I don't know. Like, I don't know, like, why. I just don't feel like I could, like, wife was weird to be, like, called as a wife. You know what I mean? Like, right. I just felt hesitant. Like, I don't know. Like, you know, like, even though we've been together for, like, maybe, like, 4 years at the point or something like that. A long time, just years. And I was like, I don't know if I'm ready, you know? But then fast forward to now, like, John came clean and stuff like that. Once he told me, I was like, you what? I screamed at the top of my lungs.
This woman turned into like a firecracker. Like, I was scared. It's not like I was scared to lose you, but then at the same time, like, I was afraid of your anger. Oh, yeah. That was the first time I experienced your anger too.
Yeah, because I used to bottle things up. Like, whenever like I'm upset or anything, I just like close up. I mean, he's like, okay, obviously something wrong. You need to tell me. I was like, no. Right. I was just like stubborn and stuff like that. So yeah, so I was like, you what? I screamed at the top of my lungs with all that I had. Because deep down inside, I knew like something was going on. Like, yeah, I could sense that he was being deceptive in some ways. But like this is it. Like, he finally came clean after so many years of us being together. So I was like... So I screamed at the top of my lungs, and then I just started asking questions. What happened to this and this and this? And then he's like, okay. He was like very like calm. Like, he kept his cool because he knew like,
oh, dude, my heart was on the altar.
Yeah. He just surrendered. And then after a while, like, we just got to a point of silence or something like that. And then I looked at him, and this is all God, because it wasn't in my power. So when I told him, like, I still love you. And then you broke down crying.
Bro, I was wrecked.
And I just gave him a hug, like, but in my heart too, at that time, I was like, okay, now I know that God's real, because all these years I've been trying to get it out of him, like, for him to tell me the truth, you know, because I knew that there was deception, like, deep down inside, you know, but I was like, okay, now I know God's real. Like, only he could have done this, you know, like, I experienced God in that way too. Like, it was actually like one of the most pivotal points of my salvation, like me being saved and to actually believe in God. Because at this time still, I didn't know he was real. Like, I was just going along with it, you know what I mean?
And how could you ever extend to me the same forgiveness and mercy and grace in a moment without receiving it yourself?
Oh, for sure.
Without understanding it yourself.
Yeah, it was all God.
And I was in awe, bro. Like, we were literally... Listen, I can remember you sitting, because you were sitting on the arm of the couch, and I was sitting on the bed, and I was just like, I was in such a vulnerable state. Like, I didn't know if I was going to lose you in a moment. I didn't know if everything was going to just turn around and get better. Like, I didn't know where we were at. And I can remember you looking at me and you pretty much like knowing that you were right. And you finding out that you had known all along. You just didn't No.
Oh yeah, how deep it
And
was. Yeah.
you were like, you're like, I must be crazy.
Did I say that?
Yeah, you're like,
did.
I must be crazy. Like, I can't remember exactly what you said, like specifically, but you're like, I must be crazy to find out all this and still want to be with you.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like, and I don't know either other than God.
It's literally God, because it doesn't make sense. You
No.
know, literally didn't make sense. It was just the supernatural power of God that he was just graced me with, you know?
Yeah, he was working in you,
Mm-hmm.
and he was all over that moment.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, if you look back on it, like vulnerability,
Mm-hmm.
open, surrender, honesty, like there was an environment in which he could work in.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like,
We weren't
allowed
keeping
him in.
secrets.
Yeah, yeah.
We weren't trying. We weren't divided. Not that we did it,
Mm-hmm.
but we allowed an opportunity and allowed an atmosphere.
Oh yeah, we were obedient in ways, you know,
Yeah.
and that allowed him to bless that moment.
And not even knowing, because we
We didn't know much at all.
Oh my gosh,
Because
we were so
babies.
impure, like, or not impure, but immature.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And yeah, so, oops, I had remembered that moment I had remembered that happened, and that had been a important moment in our relationship,
yeah.
because then stuff changed.
Yes.
God started to work in our lives
Mhm.
so fast, and we started going to church, jump in at any time because there's a lot going
Oh
on.
yeah, I remember.
But we had then started a process to where we just were surrendering our lives to
Mhm.
God. You had realized he's real, and you experienced his power, and you wanted to know more. I had experienced God in a way that I never knew him, or never experienced in my life. And I was seeking, and we weren't seeking a religious experience, but we were seeking after God
Oh, yeah.
and seeking to obey God. And we just wanted to do the right thing. Like we stopped having sex.
Oh yeah, yeah.
We stopped
Oh,
doing
that's
best.
right.
Yeah, bro.
So-
like
Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
go ahead.
So I remember the first time. Wait, so you got saved before? Okay, let's backtrack. I guess sorry, just kind of over the place, but
Sorry. We're trying.
so it was before I got saved. Like went through the sinner's prayer. I think you got saved first or something, or no? I think that might have been after that same weekend or something. So you.
All right, so
Oh, I lost my train of thought. Sorry.
no, go ahead.
No, I'm trying to remember.
Okay. All right. Well, me specifically, God
Mhm.
had been working on me, but I didn't really even say like a sinner's prayer. But I can remember
Like you
when it happened to
rededicate
me. I
your life,
rededicated
yeah.
my life to him in the kitchen.
Mhm.
Yeah, this was after. This was
Okay,
after
yes.
that. After that,
That same
event,
weekend, right? Because it was
everything
Good
came out.
Friday that I got saved. Like I said, the sinner's prayer.
Yeah. And then I had been in the kitchen because it was COVID.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Oh,
COVID.
yeah.
And I had been in the kitchen making breakfast while you were laying in bed, and I was listening to a church service.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it was like, I was just listening to a church service, and I wanted to rededicate my life, like,
Mm-hmm.
and I did. I reached out to God. I just prayed, something super simple, and I just reached out to him, and at that moment on, it was like another step in the right direction.
Okay, I got my train of thought
Okay.
back. So yeah, so when you first, I think, after that service and stuff like that, we talked later on, and you're like, "Hey, so we're gonna stop like being intimate sexually and stuff like that," and you just had that conversation. You sat me down and said that
Yep.
and stuff. And then back then I still wasn't really saved. So in the back of my mind, like, because in that state, like I was like insecure, like jealous and stuff like that. Just like, and I viewed my value as in, like I determine my self-worth based on your attraction towards me. And
Right.
like, yeah. So at that time I was like, just be having a sinful thought, like, oh yeah, we'll see how long this lasts. You know what I
Right.
mean? So I just want to say that, I guess.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
Thank you. I don't think you ever told me that. So yeah, like listen, I was a changed man.
Mm-hmm.
Like I experienced God. We were going in a direction that I believe was good and what God wanted us to do. I was trying to lead. I was at least just like I was trying to do the right
Oh
thing
yeah, yeah.
by God.
That you
And
knew.
yeah, that I knew. And um we started going to church. Like this was COVID though, so it was like during lockdown
Oh yeah,
too.
yeah.
So we were able to watch uh church online and stuff like that. So you're somewhat just like not saved, but like
Yeah, yeah.
saved. Um, and I'm seeking, and at this point, I'm like, hey, we're gonna stop having sex, and we're gonna try to do the right thing. And I'm still battling alcoholism,
Mm-hmm.
and we had gone to Fostoria Church of God. We met with the pastors, or the pastor and his wife.
Mm-hmm. So I remember, like, to add on what you were saying earlier, our first day there, like, we walked in, like, this is my first time attending a Christian church service ever. Like, because back then I didn't even know, like, the night thing that we went to, it was just a Bible study. Like, I thought that was church, you know?
Oh
So,
wait, yeah, no,
yeah,
we
yeah.
didn't go on Sundays. I went on Sunday with my mom. You didn't go.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Because I
All
was like, that's too early. So I never knew what an actual church service
It's like
was.
I ain't saved, bro. I ain't waking up early. What you mean?
I think you tried to get me to go,
Yeah.
but like, no.
All right,
I'm
thank you.
sleeping.
Thank you
Yeah,
for that.
so
Yeah.
that was my first church service ever. Yeah, I remember like sitting down, and then Yama and Carrie came up to us like, hey, like just being greeted. It was like, hey, like, and there was like, it was pretty much empty because COVID, you know, like
Yeah.
there's like no one there, just a couple people, handful of people, but like most of the seats were empty. I remember I brought in Dunkin' Donuts because I didn't know we weren't allowed, but so yeah, they came up and greeted us, and yeah, they gave us the green card to just fill out our information. Yeah, it's kind of cool looking back now. Like, oh, you know, like now we know them, and you're close to Yama and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's my boy.
And yeah, I remember that. That was the first service that we went to, and that was the service that we first heard Yama preach as well. And
Yeah.
I remember all the details, but I remember him talking about the guy that was on the tree who, like, you know, he went on the tree to
Yeah.
just look for Jesus and stuff like that. So yeah, so that was yeah, my first church service officially. Yeah. And like I remember you would talk about like, oh, I felt God and stuff like that, but I wasn't, you know, like I wasn't filled with the Holy Spirit or anything. So I was like, what does that mean? Like, you know, like me
Right.
not being saved and stuff like that. But yeah.
Oh my gosh. So
So
yeah.
it was like a fresh experience.
See,
for
this is
me.
why I need your help telling this story. Because I'm like sitting here, got my own perspective.
Yeah.
Because I can remember yeah, a lot happened. Because then we started talking to Pastor Dan.
Yes.
And
Yes. Pastor was out of town that day or something like that. So
yeah, so we met
yeah,
with them. Everything
week
was cool.
after.
The week after. So we went to church. Then the week after, we met with Pastor Dan.
At least at the end of service, so we just went up to him and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah.
And we didn't even know them, but I'm like, yo, we want to get married.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's the first conversation.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
100%.
that's
We're like, hey,
right.
we want to get married, and I know you got to do it. So,
And oh yeah, and that was the first thing that Pastor preached that day was love, like 1 Corinthians 13 and everything. I remember that.
that?
Yeah, that was the first time first message we heard Pastor preach.
yo, it was.
Yeah, and then that's how we're
He
like,
was starting a love
yes,
series.
and that's how we knew, like, oh, this is the church we're supposed to be at, because you know we're dealing with like issues of love, like you know with the I guess it's okay to say, like
Yeah.
the church that we had before, like it felt like they didn't necessarily knew like how to give God's love in that way, because we didn't feel grace from them, you know.
Mhm.
But yeah, so this is how we knew, it was like, this is the church.
Yeah,
This
God,
is it.
God was confirming things
Mhm.
all around us,
Yes.
whether we knew it or not.
Oh yeah, because we're such baby Christians that God was just speaking to us in so many different ways. Like,
Yeah.
because I would ask question too, and then like a pastor would say something that kind of tied with it. Oh, okay, thank you, Lord, for answering my my question, because I wasn't saved, you know. So
Right.
yeah,
Which is so crazy to think now, like how complicated we've made it to hear from
Yeah.
God.
Oh, that's true.
That's why the Bible says that we have to be like a child to
childlike
enter in.
faith. Yes,
Bro, if we don't have childlike faith, how could you ever like?
Mm-hmm.
It's like we got nope, that's not God because he didn't do it this
Yeah,
way.
because we got too
Like-
wise in our own eyes now. Like, oh, we know enough word, we know enough this and this. But no, we're still supposed to be open to God teaching us more, you know.
Right.
But we kind of say or figure that we know everything now, so we stop in a way God moving our lives.
Right.
And that's how like a lot of people become religious now, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and dude, so God was confirming things all around, and we had a conversation. We're like, hey, we want to get married, and they didn't know us from Adam, so they're
Yeah.
like, we got to get to know you first, because Pastor Dan was like, I'm not ruining my track record.
Right.
Nobody I've married has gotten a divorce yet, so.
He's like, hey, let's sit down and talk about this and
Yeah.
let's figure it out, you know.
And I believe we had, before we even had premarital counseling, we did sit down with them and have a meeting with them, or at least him in the office.
I think so. Yeah, it was just him and us two. Yeah, I think one Sunday or something. I can't remember all the details.
Right.
But yeah.
And then I believe it was in that meeting, or like it was either in that meeting or during one of the first meetings of our premarital counseling, that it finally came out, where you were asked the question, are you saved? Do you know Jesus? And it's kind of like you couldn't keep the secret any longer. Am I wrong about that?
I don't remember this, honestly.
No?
No.
I thought so. Like I thought for sure.
What do you think happened afterwards? Maybe it'll trigger a memory.
Well, it's not like, oh, she's not saved, let's get her saved. But
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like they started asking us questions and they started to get to know us. And I think if you were asked the question, I think it was like you were asked, are you saved, or like, do you know Jesus? And it was kind of like, I'm getting to know like these things, because it's your first time ever coming to church. So they were very graceful with us and patient with us. They weren't expecting a lot at all.
Oh yeah, because they knew we were just
Yo,
we're
we're
just babes. Yeah.
We're babes. So I can't remember if that was a conversation that was had.
Either way, I know if that was something that like in my brain, I was panicking on the inside. Oh
Right.
no, they're gonna find me out. It's just
can't.
funny. I love God in it though. Like,
Right. All right. So at this point, yeah, here comes like this is gonna escalate. So it happened pretty fast. Like we had a conversation with them, and then we're like, okay, we're gonna start premarital counseling soon. And we had a date for the premarital counseling, and then I'm like, oh crap, I never even proposed to this woman. Like, cause we're just trying to live right at this point.
Yeah.
Like we're not intimate sexually, and we're still living together and working together at this point. But then they're like, oh, I can remember. They're like, are you guys even engaged? We're like, no. It's like, he looks at me like, you better get on that. And I was like, oh crap,
He's
I
like,
do.
Yeah, and pastor's like, well, usually I don't even start premarital counseling until you guys get engaged, but we'll just set this date up or something like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And then he's like, kind of like gave me like the, hey, try to get this done before then. And it was just somewhat unconventional, I guess, the way we went about it. But dude, listen, like God was there the whole time. He was leading us through it.
Yes.
And we just knew we wanted to do things right. And it might not be hallmarky. It might not be all super romantic, but
it's our story.
It
you know what I mean? Yeah.
is.
With
It
Jesus
is.
in it.
and I'd rather have God in my story than not
Yes.
have God in my story and it be some little romantic fairy tale, because that's all it is. If you think that you're in love with somebody and God ain't part of it, that's exactly what it is. It's a fairy tale.
True.
It is not real, because love is ugly. It's beautiful, but love is ugly. And I'm not saying our story is ugly by any means, but I wouldn't have it any other way, because I love you and I love how God was working on us both in that season to get us to where he wanted us. Because yeah, we knew we had to follow after him without knowing that we had to follow after him. It was so good.
That's good. I'm just curious on what Pastor was thinking, because I feel now, after knowing Pastor, I feel like it's out of character for him to do something like this.
Right.
Like, this is a rash decision that these young couple is making.
Oh, I'm
You know
sure.
what I mean? So I'm just imagining what's going on in his mind and his talks with Jenny.
Oh yeah, they must have seen something.
Yeah, or something. I don't know.
Maybe they seen the commitment.
Oh,
I don't know.
I do remember that they did say, like, when we first walked in the church or something, they noticed something about us or something like that. Yeah, but
God's hand was on us. So yeah. So we needed to get proposed. I can remember. We were kind of open about it because I was like, you weren't a big jewelry person. I'm like, and I was
I
like,
was a simple gal.
yeah, you really were. And I was like, pick out your ring, and you didn't want to be like
spend so much on it. You know, I was like, oh.
pretty frugal about it, but you're like, and I was like, pick out your ring because I want to make sure it's something you want. And where'd you buy it?
I don't remember what it's called. Like, it was probably like, in a sense, like New Age witchcraft.
Oh yeah, it was. It was a moon rock.
One of those, yeah, it was like, oh, like they're like, I got the ring in the mail, and then it has like a whole thing where this stone means this. I didn't believe it or anything, but I'm like, oh well, it's the. Like, as long as I don't put those things on it, but I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I don't put those kind of powers on crystals or anything. So yeah, it was just some kind of website. I got it for like between 50 or 70 or something like that. So,
yeah, super cheap. And you're like, hey, it's
that
pretty.
was simple. Yeah.
So you got the ring. It came in the mail. I grabbed it, and then at that point, I took you out to dinner. And then
did we go to dinner? I'm trying to remember.
I thought we went to dinner.
I think so.
Yeah.
Wait.
Listen. All right. So
I'm trying to remember. Either way, we were back in Finley, and
we were in Finley.
It was a little late. We might have went out somewhere.
It was a date night. I can't remember where we went, but I know it was a date night, and it was towards the end of the night.
It's funny because I remember we were driving, like heading back towards home, or like I thought, and I was like, "Oh, this is nostalgic." Just like because I grew up in Finley. Sorry, am I ruining it?
No, you're good.
Like, I grew up in Finley, so my brother and I, we used to like drive around late, and then there's like no one around, like absolutely whatever. You know what I mean? So I was like, oh, this is so nostalgic. We're just driving around, like driving by Walmart, like there's like barely anyone around and stuff like that. So yeah.
And Smooth John comes right in and says, okay, let's go down memory lane. And I decided to take you to your parents' house because your parents had moved out of that house at that point.
Oh, yes, yes.
So they no longer live there.
They sold the house.
They sold the house. It's late at night. And I wanted to go to the house where we used to hang out with and everything, but somebody else owned it. And we drove up there, and I got out of the car after we looked at the house for a little bit. I'm like, hey, stay here. I got out of the car, came around, opened up the car door, and I'm like, come here.
It still didn't click at the moment.
It didn't. And like we had already known, like, because we have premarital counseling the next day.
Oh yeah,
we do. So I'm like sitting here, like she knows, and I was like, went right over her head. And I got you out of the car. We stood in the driveway, and I got down on one knee, didn't know really what to say, but I just spit some stuff out, and I'm like, I want to live my life with you. I love you. And
I cried. I think I did, right? I teared up,
think
probably.
You're right.
Yeah.
And you said yes. I got up, put the ring on you, picked you up, and spun you around. And
I said, okay, we gotta go.
Yeah, we gotta go. Let's dip out. Like we're on somebody else's property. And so yeah, we had our own little romantic thing. And then the next day,
oh, you got me a ring pop too, because we always made a
yes.
joke. And you handed it to me.
I proposed with. Didn't I propose with the ring pop?
I can't remember.
I think I proposed with the ring pop, and yes, I did. I proposed with the ring pop, and you said yes, and then you got your actual ring.
I think so, something like that. I can't remember. Yeah, either way.
Details. Who cares about it? So at that point, the day after that, we started premarital counseling. I can remember our first meeting. She's like, "So, did you guys seal the deal?" I was like, "Yep, did it last night." Proposed. And then once we started going through premarital counseling, it was crazy, man. Like God started to work on us even more. And we stopped, like we had already not been intimate sexually.
Yeah, and then even before that, I think you started sleeping at your mom's house instead. Yep. Like we still technically lived together, but we didn't.
We were hanging out together. We were working together. We were hanging out together. But if it came down to being nighttime, we were not sleeping in the same house. I was not in the same house. I wasn't on the couch. I wasn't on the bed. I was at my mom's house, and because we just wanted to do things right, and we wanted to please God, and we knew that we weren't supposed to be living together.
And I just remember the time, like we kind of had difficulties even coming up to that decision too, like for you to sleep at your mom's house. Because I remember it was like, because our carnal mind was still thinking like how we think like,
Right.
worldly. Is that what he said? Anyways. So I remember like we went back to scripture because there's one where it's like the husband would leave the parents and then cling on to the wife or something like that. I can't remember the exact scripture. Oh, but anyways,
the man leaves his mother and his father and cling on to the woman.
And I remember like our carnal mind was thinking, well, right now, like that's not really possible because people are like they had to go to college and move out and stuff like that, so they're not really leaving their parents physically, like at their house and stuff like that. But then I remember like even though we had that conversation, like okay, yeah, but I'm still gonna let's, I'm just going to decide
this is impractical. This is not practical.
Yeah, that's how we were talking.
Rent's higher now, but like rent's expensive. Like we're wasting a bunch of money on gas. Like time, like I'm tired.
Oh yeah. And I didn't have my license then either. So you would have to like drive and take me to work and everything. Yeah. But you still came to the decision like, okay, but I know we said all that, but no, I'm just going to sleep over at my mom's house. And I'm like, okay. Like that's okay. Listen.
Oh my gosh.
Because you want to do what's right in God's eyes, even though if we don't know exactly what the Bible says, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Can you lower your mic a little bit?
Oh, sorry.
Now like tilt this part. There you go.
Like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to see your face. All right. So now at this point, we're just trying to do what God wants us to do, and we're doing everything within our power to do so. And all while doing this, all while going through premarital counseling, we're still dealing with the fact that there is a break in our trust.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Like I everything that we just like tried to give you in the last like half hour happened within a small amount of time.
Oh yeah, a couple months, honestly.
I would say less than a couple, around a month or so. Mm-hmm. Like it was crazy, like how fast this stuff happened and how fast it started to escalate. But when God moves, like he moves.
Oh yeah. Because our hearts were just open to God, like for him to move in our lives. So he was just, like
commitment levels through the roof. And I think
we've transformed so much in that little bit of time, And
I think that's what Pastor and Jenny reacted to as well, because they've seen our hearts and we were open and honest.
They were just moving in the spirit.
They were moving in the spirit, and they came in and they were like spiritual mother and father to us. So like, yo, we got them. Like, not to even talk about this, but I can remember one conversation. We stayed at church until like 11 or 12 at night.
Oh yeah.
And I remember Pastor getting super defensive about me and over a certain situation that I'm not going to talk about, but it just goes to show you that they were trying to protect us and love us and lead us.
And they're willing to invest time in us.
Yes.
Very good.
And that was just so important, and we needed that in that moment. And they were devoting and investing time in us. And so, we were going after God, going through premarital counseling, not living at home. She's at home. We're hanging out every waking moment of the day. And then all while doing this, we're legitly praying to God, if we're not supposed to be together, don't let us.
Mm-hmm. Like, tell us, like, show us,
Bro, the level of commitment to say, I love this woman and I love this man, but if you have other plans, let me know. And all the way up until like days before the wedding.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and even like, I don't want to talk too much because it could just, we were within our time schedule and the life that we were living. We couldn't even go on a honeymoon or nothing like that.
Oh, yeah. It was during COVID.
It was during COVID.
It's still the same year.
So we had a pre-honeymoon to where we went with another couple that we knew to Florida, to Universal Studios. And we were even sleeping in separate beds. Like, and we were praying to God. We watched church service that Sunday online. And we're like, God, I can remember us praying this. Like, God, send us a little old lady that like will tell us if we're supposed to be married.
And we're just crying, like holding each other's hands during it. Because towards the end of that service, Pastor was talking about like he just wants to walk in God's yes, and how like God spoke to him and Jenny that time that like if you want us to go to, this is before they came to Fostoria, and they were like at a different church, and God spoke to them like, this is, I want you in Fostoria. And then they were just obedient and surrendering their whole lives. And then God spoke to them yes, and they walked in the yes. And like, we want to walk in the yes too, you know? Like, God, if it's what you want for us, we want to be there, you know? We want to be where you're placing us, you know?
Which is important, knowing.
For sure.
Oh my gosh, I don't want to be anywhere else. I need to be in God's yes.
Yes.
So yeah, that's happening. And then we're about to get married. Like this, like we were so, like it's COVID. We're going through all these issues. We're doing premarital counseling. We're about to get married. We're throwing all this together. Like we weren't even going to have no more than like a couple people at our wedding.
Remember there's a point where we sat down with a pastor's daughter and son-in-law. We were just having a conversation. We told them like, oh, we're not going to have a big wedding. We're just going to go to the courthouse and get married there, you know? And then I think pastor heard like, what, you know, like they probably told him everything. And then he just sat us down like during one of our meetings and stuff. He's like, so what do you guys want to do for the wedding? Like, cause I think we're starting to plan it and everything now. And then you said, oh, we're just going to go to the courthouse, get married there. And then,
like we didn't care. We just wanted to do the right thing.
And we were getting to our busy season at work, and we're going to start going to second shift. So we're like, okay, we need to figure this out now so that we don't have to be tired, because then you had to drive from your mom's house, pick me up, then go to work and stuff like that. And then it's just more difficult during that time. So yeah, then pastor just sat us down. He's like, and he told us like, you know, it's really important that you have God in it and stuff like that. And then there's certain ways you need to, I forget it.
He just schooled us on what we needed to do for a wedding.
Yeah. And he wasn't like mean about it or, you know, like condescending. He just said it the right way. And we're like, okay, like, you're right. We want God in it, you know, like, so we just decided to do the wedding at the church and everything.
Oh yeah. No, because he found out our situation. That's really what it was. It was just, he found our situation out. He tried to lead us and shepherd us in the right way. And then he's like, you know what? We're going to do it here. And I was like, all right. And I was like, and then it just became a thing. It wasn't even going to be like a big wedding. We weren't even going to invite your parents.
I know.
And then
you weren't even going to invite your friends.
Yeah.
You literally invited them the day before the wedding.
Literally.
Yeah.
And I know. Ooh, yeah. I remember I never even asked your parents for permission.
Oh yeah. Before. Yeah. So during one of our meetings with pastor, like he says, okay, you had to do the right thing. This is what I did with Jenny and stuff. Like he told his story, and yeah, I remember that story. Anyways, so and then he said that it's the honorable thing. Like you want to honor her parents, you know. So you need to ask her, even if it's through a phone call. Like you need to ask.
Yeah, because they were in California. At that time.
And it was during COVID and everything. So I remember I was so scared because I had to call my mom first and then explain the situation. I guess like, hey, I was so scared because I knew like how the world thinks of Christians, because that's how I thought, you know, like I thought they're like judgmental, you know, everything negative, you know. So I was afraid that how she was going to respond to it, you know, with her being Buddhist and our views didn't match up, you know. So I remember calling, I was so scared. I was praying like, Lord, help me, like, because I felt like I was a disappointment because I wasn't a doctor. I didn't, you know, like I was stuck at Best Buy distribution center, you know. So it was kind of difficult for me. Like I was insecure, like, and yeah. So I was like praying before I called her. I was like, Lord, prepare her heart, give me favors, stuff like that, you know, because I don't think we even talked for a long time. So yeah, I called her, and then I was like, Mom, so I'm Christian now. And then she's like, why are you like, okay, like she didn't understand why I was nervous and stuff. She's like, that's okay, honey. He's like, I still love you.
I love her. I can hear her voice right now.
And then I told her like that you wanted to ask my dad for marriage, just to give him a heads up and stuff like that. And she's like, okay, I'll tell him. And then yeah, you ended up calling them later or something like that. Yeah.
I called them. Called them.
And back then it's like, because back then like they moved to California, and our relationship with my parents wasn't all that great, because then, you know, they felt, or about you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How would you say that?
Um,
Because when I moved in with you, like it was pretty rough. Like they weren't
yeah,
happy about
like
it.
they
So
had an idea
yeah,
for
yeah,
your life, and I didn't fit in it.
yeah.
And when I asked you, or I would say like, I kind of, I wouldn't say I coerced you, but I just gave you the information. I'm like, you're an adult. You can do what you want,
Oh
and
yeah.
we can move in together
Mhm.
because they're kind of trying to do the right thing, and like they seen something in me that was bad,
Oh yeah, yeah.
so they wanted to protect their daughter from that.
Mhm.
And
Because I was like really naive back then,
Yeah.
even for 20 years old. Because I was just sheltered basically.
Yeah.
You know, I kept to myself, so I was naive. I didn't know how to read people all that well and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah.
and they were trying to protect you
Mhm.
from me,
Oh, yeah.
and I kind of just like my rebellion rubbed off on you,
Yeah.
and I'm like, hey, like we can live together, like you don't have to live in your parents' house.
Mhm.
They're trying to control you, this and that,
And back then, like I was supposed to move to California with
yeah,
them. So then
and
you're like, I'm
oh
gonna
dude,
lose.
I
Yeah.
remember.
That
Yeah,
was rough. So that's why you're like, okay, we're gonna move in together and stuff like because you didn't want to lose me.
yeah.
So yeah, because they want. So that's why the tension in the
Oh,
relationship
there
was
was
kind of
definitely high tension.
yeah. So that's why I was nervous to even tell them like we're getting married. You
Yeah,
know?
because
But-
not only was I white, not a doctor, and they didn't like me,
Mhm.
but I stole their child from them.
Yeah,
If you
the
really
baby.
want,
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Like in their perspective, that's
in a way,
yeah.
yeah.
So that's why it was like difficult talking to them and stuff like that. But then like God's so good, like
Dude,
yeah,
isn't he?
like He softened their hearts to come to like change their hearts towards you as well.
Bro.
You know, because I didn't expect that. You know.
Listen, all right, so now, all right, thank you for giving that context. I got on the phone and I called them,
Mhm.
and I'm
It was good.
nervous,
Yeah.
bro. I'm nervous. I'm like, I'm gonna ask. They're gonna say no. We're gonna get married anyways. I'm only here.
Oh, that's what
to
you're
honor
expecting.
them.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm here to honor them. But at the end of the day, we already agreed we're getting married. We're just
Mhm.
hoping to have their blessing.
Oh yeah,
We
yeah.
want their blessing. And the only way we're not getting married is if God says so.
Mhm.
But if they say no, then But we wanted their blessing. It was important to me as a man.
Yeah, yeah.
Because me growing up without a father, I'd always wanted that father-like relationship with the woman that I'd marry. And that's where I was kind of heartbroken within our relationship, because I'm like, dang, man, like dad doesn't even like me. Like I was hoping for so much more. So I'm getting on this phone, and I'm calling him, or I called them. And
Yeah.
I called mom. I think, I called
One of them,
I
yeah,
called your
I
mom,
think so.
and she had put me on speaker, and she's like, "Okay, honey," you know how she sounds. She's like, "Okay, honey, you're on speakerphone." I'm like, "Okay." So I'm like, "Hey, so I want to marry your daughter," and I want to say like I like beat around the bush a little bit, but I ended up just asking like, "Hey guys, Pauline and I are getting really really serious, and I want to marry your daughter. She's important to me, and I love her. But to do that, I'm hoping to have your permission. I need your blessing because I want to honor you." And I was kind of coached by Pastor Dan
Yeah.
how to approach this situation. So I'm just like trying to spit it all out. And what I heard on the other side of that phone was something I never would have expected. And it was the sound of joy, and it was happiness and approval.
Mhm.
And they said, yes, of course. And they were excited.
Oh yeah.
Next thing you know, and like not to like jump, but like next thing you know, we're now inviting them to the wedding.
Oh yeah, because back then we didn't, because we planned on having like a small wedding first.
Yeah.
And then like once
bigger
COVID's
one.
over, we just have like a normal wedding like everyone does, you know.
Yeah.
But so at first we didn't want to invite them, but then we just sat on it. Like I think God was speaking to us separately too. It's like, because I was at work thinking, I said, you know what, like even if this isn't the big wedding and stuff like that, like I still want them to be there, you know.
Yeah.
So and you came along, and then we started talking about it. You're like, yeah, God's like, I was thinking the same thing. Like, I really want your parents to be there. Like God just confirming it through us, you know. So so we called my parents, and then they're like, okay, yeah, we'll go there. Like they're stuck in quarantine because it's California, like it's crowded there, you know. Like nail salons are shut down. They can't even do anything. They just stayed at home. So we're like, okay, yeah, we'll just go. go, to the wedding and stuff
Right.
like that. So they flew all the way from California to Ohio just for our wedding. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And it was great. It was great. Like, I want to say, and I always love telling this part, like, so, like, God's bringing this all together. Like, the moment we were just going to go, like, at one moment we were just going to go to the courthouse and get it done.
Oh yeah.
And just do life. God's like, no, I'm gonna show you the importance of marriage. And it was so old school. Like, this was straight up old school. Like, it didn't have the flair, it didn't have the flash, it didn't have the big party. It was just small and intimate. We had, like, probably, including the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, we had like 23 people there. And I ended up inviting my friends the day before. We invited your parents, my brother, his wife, my mom came. You had found your dress for super cheap.
Oh yeah, so my mom saved the day with that one. So I so it was like, okay, now that we're having an actual wedding, like, because I bought some other, like, a cheap dress from
Yep, I remember.
from like a website, and then I said, okay, I don't think I really want to get married in this one. So I was like, at least make it, like, get more like an actual wedding dress,
Right.
So I got it for like 200 or something, got like express shipping and everything, and I got it in the mail like the same week of the wedding.
Yeah.
And so I tried it on, and you could see the bra cups through the dress. Like, the top, I was like, oh my gosh, what am I supposed to do?
This is a nightmare.
Yeah. So then I called my mom and I talked to her about it. She's like, oh, I'll fix it for you, honey. I was like, just put I think we're on second shift at this time.
Yep.
So she's like, oh, just put it in the garage and I'll pick it up and I'll fix it for you and stuff like that. So, like, she saved the day. And if she didn't get invited, like, I wouldn't have, like, a wedding dress, what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I would wear the one that you didn't even like, because turns out you didn't even like the initial dress I got. So yeah, it's just like, I'm glad that God allowed my mom to help me out and be a part of the wedding, because back then, like,
you guys came so much closer too.
I know, because like, it's supposed to be memorial with, like, weddings, like, it's a family thing, like, that you can connect through, like, the mom helping the bride and stuff, like, and then I'm glad that my mom was able to help me in that way, and she fixed the dress and everything. Yeah, so that's good.
Yep, you got your dress super cheap. I remember I wasn't even gonna wear a suit. Come to find out, like, now we're having a wedding, I gotta go get a suit around the same time that you got yours. And I'm like, crap, I gotta go get a suit. And this is all happening so fast. And
like, this is within months. Like, I think we had to go through like 4 weeks of premarital counseling, and then we got married like probably the week after or something like that. Crazy.
It was like 2 weeks after.
2 weeks, yeah.
2 weeks after, or about a week and a half to 2 weeks. Because after premarital counseling, we went on the pre-honeymoon, and then we came back, got married days later, and I went and found my suit for like $100, my full-blown tuxedo at Kohl's, because they were having a sale. And dude, like, when I tell you, like, even the rings.
It's
dude,
a miracle.
we sent the rings out to get sized. Her ring came in the day before we got married.
Yes.
Because your parents came into town, stayed at the hotel. We met with them, and there's just so many things going on around our busy lives, but yet God's slowing us down and allowing us to see him through all the mess. I can remember the day before your wedding where you're supposed to meet your parents, and like, we woke up and we hadn't heard nothing about the ring. Like, we still need the ring. And I'm like, God, if you want us to get married, like, we're literally out here just like, if you want us to get married, if you want us to get married, like, we're just trying to do the right thing by God.
And honestly, I think at that time, like, we were ready to get married without the ring anyways. You know what I mean?
We were there.
And at the time, like, it just shows us God's grace during it, because before the wedding, we're at each other's throat for I don't even remember why.
It's just the enemy trying to not let us get married.
Yeah, we just got into fights about the stupidest things or something. Yeah, and even that day we got in a fight before we met with my parents, but we still met with them anyways. And yeah, so I remember so we went out to Chipotle and everything, and the ring was supposed to be there, like they scheduled it to be there like the week before or something. They kept trying to, like, oh no, it's gonna be there that day, and then we never heard anything. Like, that morning I looked up the phone number for the jewelry store we got it from. So we went to Chipotle and everything, and we got our food. We sat down to eat with my parents in front of me. I think my dad might have left to go somewhere. I forget. Anyways, yeah, so So I think we saw a number pop up on your screen,
Yep.
right? So you picked it up and you're like, okay. I forget. Just tell your part.
Yeah, and then sure enough, like, because we woke up that morning, we hadn't heard about the ring, and we started praying. I'm like, if we're supposed to be married, it's gonna be here by this time.
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, around that time, we had got a call, and we had got our ring. I can remember leaving Chipotle in the car with you, about to drive down to get our rings, and we're just like, this is God. This is God.
We just felt the Holy Spirit during all, because we were just so, like, I was wrecked like by his love, you know, like I was just crying because I'm like, God, you still want to bless us even after we've been so ugly with each other, like screaming, like we honestly like
how are we loving each other?
And on the outside, like when people look in, they're like, oh my gosh, they're terrible. Like they should not get married together, you know?
Right.
But God's like, he still has his approval on our marriage.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like we didn't get an old lady to tell us that we need to get married or anything, but still, you know, like God was just blessing us. Like we were just experiencing his grace and his favor in our lives. And it was just beautiful, you know?
Which, dude, even just right now, I feel like I heard the Holy Spirit. With commitment comes his approval.
Mm-hmm.
If you're committed to him, he approves of you.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like I definitely believe we had his approval when it came to us getting married. And it ended up being just a small little intimate wedding that was super cute and amazing. Families came together, had a nice little intimate, like it was awkward after the wedding. Like we had small little wedding. It was cute and everything. And then we had like cake afterwards, because that's what we heard they did back in the day. So we're like, yeah, we're just gonna have cake afterwards.
I feel kind of bad now looking back, because they probably came starving or something, because they were expecting like a big food reception thing. No, we just had cake.
Yeah, we just had cake afterwards.
And right after the ceremony, we went outside of the church to get pictures outside and stuff like that. We came back and people were just waiting on us because they didn't want to eat the cake without us. So like, oh,
like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. So, but you know,
yeah.
We felt the Holy Spirit throughout the whole wedding and stuff. Like, it was beautiful. Yeah,
it was. I loved it.
Like it was small, but we loved it. You know, it's what it needed to be. You know. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it was. Because I had always wanted a big wedding, but I definitely believe God had other plans, and I liked his plan better. And then afterwards, we had a nice little intimate dinner with your parents, my mom, and my brother and his wife, and it was cute, and I liked it. So yeah, and then now it's been history ever since, and we could go down that rabbit hole, but who knows how long that would take. That might have to be for another pod because we're already 2 hours and 40 minutes into this podcast. New record for the Real Room, by the way. But yeah, dude, that was our story though, and I loved it. I love it. Yeah, that's a little bit of our history. And then, yeah, so this turned into like a podcast of like, I wanted you to tell about you and have about you, but it turned into us. I mean, of course, we are one flesh though, right? Yeah. So I'm part of the story. Your story is my story.
And I guess we can't touch it on this podcast, but along the way, I did like get saved, like in my own prayer time. Yeah, yes. So yeah.
Oh yeah, God was doing, so that was just the marriage though. After the marriage, after we got married, like we were full bore in it though.
Oh yeah.
Like we went pedal to the metal. We were committed, and we just started serving in our church. We became part of our church. We became members of our church. It was home. It was home. We experienced God there in a lot of different ways. And we were just committed to him, and we wanted to live for him and be there for him. And yeah, so now you're saved at this point. You're married. What's going through your mind, or like, because now you're coming to Christ, or you came to Christ. Now you're married, and you're going to church. Like, what's that like?
Obviously, it's a process. It was definitely a process because, like, just so much happened. Like, because even before we got married and stuff like that. Because, I don't even know where to start, honestly. Because it's good. I don't know how long that's going to be. So
Right.
that's why I'm not.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Maybe that should just be for another pod.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we can talk about our
Yeah.
lives of commitment. When we came to actually like serve in church, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't even really know what to like categorize it. Yeah. So, Pauline, I've reached the moment where I feel like this is the end of our podcast. And for anybody that maybe hears that sound, our dogs are losing their minds right now because we've been in this room for over 2.5 hours. But yeah, that's our story. That's a little bit of context to who Pauline is. Pauline, thank you. Thank you for being vulnerable. Thank you for being honest. Thank you for being open. Thank you for doing something out of your character and your comfort zone. Really, anybody who watches this and knows you knows that, one, they probably just like, oh my gosh, yay! I learned more about Pauline. I love it. But yeah, you've grown. You've grown a lot, and I love what God has done in you and through you. Because if it wasn't for God, you wouldn't even be sitting in this couch. But thank you for coming on The Real Room. Or coming in The Real Room and getting real with us. I'll give you a moment if you want. Like, is there anything you would like to tell anybody out there about God, advice, or anything like that? We're going to be wrapping up this episode, but I want to give you a moment to like really just speak your heart and tell somebody what you would like them to know.
I guess, like if you don't believe in God yet or anything, like it's a process. Like I really had to change a lot. Like, and just keep your heart open. Like when you read the Bible or anything like that, just be open and just don't, I guess, reject it yet, or like brush it off, or like, oh, this is stupid. Just like, okay, let me try to understand their point of view and see what they're trying to say. You know what I mean? Before you just come with guns blazing.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah.
Right. And then I would say you could probably agree if you experience a negative experience with a Christian, just know that that's not God.
Oh yeah.
Like, we don't get it right. Like, we're not perfect. I mean, but God is, and we fail a lot of times. And I'd hate to say it this way, but like I'm gonna say it: like, try God, not church, and then try church. and
like literally pray about being at the right church, because that's what we did.
We did.
Like we want to make sure like God's placing us where He wants us, and that it's a place where we don't get hurt. Like God truly bless us with our church, honestly, because there's just so much church hurt. Like you hear stories that crazy ones, like there's like cults and stuff like that they ended up being in, and then they reject God because they think that's who, like that's an example of Him, but that's not, because they're just have it wrong,
Right. And we are supposed to be examples, and a lot of people just get it wrong. But we shouldn't hold that against God.
Yeah.
So yeah, just remain open. Remain open, guys. Wherever you are, whoever you are, whatever you're going through, God's real. He's there for you, even in your mess, and even before you even think He's real, right? But if you give Him a shot, I think we both can agree He will prove Himself to you 100%. But yeah, Pauline, you're awesome.
Thanks.
I love you so
Love
much. And thank you for stepping in the real room and getting real with us. You know the importance of this podcast, this episode, because we're hoping in the future that you will just become a co-host. I want this woman to be a co-host. So if you love her, if you think she's awesome, if you think that she should be my co-host, hit a like button, comment or something. I mean, I'm not going to harass you guys for attention, but show her some love for sure. And yeah, so that's that. Thank you all for watching. Just to give you guys a little bit of update on our way out. We are looking forward to developing a opportunity or a way for us to go live. at least every month or every other month. We haven't truly figured it out. We're still working out our internet package to make sure that we can stream and it not be glitchy or anything like that. So we are looking forward to trying to plan a live event to where we can just come in here, we can hang out, we can talk about God, and we can help people and answer questions. That's another big thing. Like
Oh yeah,
we
yeah.
want to help educate people, right?
Mhm.
Like God's poured so much into us. We just want to pour it back out onto other people and in other people so that they can come to understand who God is. And yeah, any way that we can help, right? We want to. So yeah, that's what we're planning in the future. But yeah, I think we're about to step out. So Pauline, thank you so
No
much.
problem.
I love you.
Love you.
You're beautiful. And I just appreciate you coming in here and getting real with us. So yeah, until next week, keep it real.